the magician in the world of Doraemon. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 626. The Problem. Nobita and his friends ran to the street and soon saw Angshan wandering on the street. The two smiled at each other and immediately rushed over. Angshan, we have good news to tell you. Good news? Angshan turned and looked at them. He was planning to go to Haruo's house to play games. Nobita stopped in front of him. It's like this. Fat Tiger is going to have a concert again on his birthday. What did you say? Angshan's pupils shrank suddenly. You actually told him that this was good news? No one would believe you. Sorry, I have something to do today and left first. Angshan turned and ran away. If you plan to ask me to listen to his concert, then you'd better give up as soon as possible. Doraemon quickly stopped in front of him. Don't be anxious. Listen to what I say. He is going to hold a farewell concert. Angshan walked forward impatiently. What, farewell or not? As long as it's a concert, I won't. Wait, is what you just said what I thought? Yes, it's the concert that all singers will hold when they retire from the entertainment industry. Doraemon gave him a positive answer. Angshan suddenly knelt down, looked up at the sky and shouted loudly, 3 years. I have been forced to listen to that horrible music for 3 years. In these 3 years, I have been worried all the time that he would sing to me. Is this nightmare finally coming to an end? Nobita came up from behind and patted him on the shoulder. Don't worry, we all understand your feelings. After all, everyone is like you and has spent 3 years of miserable time under the rule of Fat Tiger's singing. After a while, Angshan finally stood up from his state of shock and rekindled his fighting spirit. I will go and tell Haruo about this now. Nobita and Doraemon waved goodbye. Then go quickly. It's just right for us to have less workload. Just like that, Shizuka, who was doing homework, Sunia, who was watching TV, and Izuki, who was studying, all knew about this, and even the whole town seemed to come alive at this moment. There was no way. Too many children were bullied by Fat Tiger so badly, and now it would be natural to be happy if there was one less thing to torture them. But Izuki put down the notebook in his hand, looking a little sad. Although this is indeed a good thing, are you sure that Fat Tiger is really going to quit the entertainment industry? Angshan looked into Nobita's eyes. As far as I know, after the farewell concert, about 30% of singers have received encouragement from fans and stood up again. What did you say? Nobita and Doraemon suddenly felt like they had fallen from heaven to hell. Could it be that all their joy was in vain? Angshan continued, so you must find a way to find out his true thoughts and don't be fooled by his appearance. The two stood up with difficulty. I know, Doraemon. Think of a way to know all this. The blue fat man also cheered up. That's right, we can't let him succeed like this. Let's go now. He took out the bamboo dragonfly and flew out directly from the window next to Dekisugi, trying to seek the truth from him. Dekisugi also breathed a sigh of relief, walked downstairs, picked up a glass of water and started drinking. Fat Tiger is such a jerk, deceiving everyone. He thought as he drank, if we don't stop him, the problem will get even bigger. Speaking of which, the water flow seems to be a little smaller here recently. Is this also my illusion? Angshan drank the tap water in one gulp. He suddenly felt that the water seemed to be a little different from before. Nobita and Doraemon quickly found Fat Tiger, who was delivering goods to his mother in the wide view sky. At this time, he seemed to be in a much better mood than before. Not only did he not complain at all, he was even humming a little song happily. Doraemon, what should we do now? Nobita watched the blue fat man take out a prop from his pocket. This prop is called the Truth Sucker. It can absorb a person's true thoughts. It is a very powerful prop. Then Doraemon quietly flew behind Fat Tiger and said to the Truth Sucker, I want to know why Fat Tiger wants to hold a farewell concert. Then he pointed one end of the sucker at Fat Tiger, who was humming a little song, and gently pulled the other end, and the prop was officially activated. At this time, there seemed to be mist like steam slowly floating above Fat Tiger's head, which soon condensed into a cloud and was sucked into the cylinder. Very good, it's done. Doraemon turned around and left here quickly to avoid being discovered. Fat Tiger touched his head in confusion. Strange, why do I feel like something is missing? However, he didn't notice anything unusual and quickly put the matter behind him and continued to ride on the road. He had to deliver a lot of goods to the store today, so he didn't have time to worry about such boring things. Instead of worrying about what was missing, it would be more practical to finish the work quickly and go back for dinner. Doraemon returned to the sky in fear and winked at Nobita, and the two of them quickly drove the bamboo dragonfly away from here. Back in Dekisugi's room, the two of them finally breathed a sigh of relief, having completed the mission safely. Zyadishan poured them each a glass of juice. How is it? I see that your actions seem to be going quite smoothly. That's right. Fortunately, Fat Tiger didn't notice it, otherwise the problem would be serious. Doraemon quickly picked up the orange juice on the plate and guzzled it down his mouth, and then he completely relaxed. Because the truth sucker is to ask the other party's subconscious mind and then suck it out after it is materialized, so its effect is limited. It can only work on those things that have obvious memories. The more the other party thinks about it, the better the effect. But if the other party is very defensive, or the matter is buried very deeply, then the effect will be weakened, and it is very likely to be discovered. After drinking the juice, Doraemon talked about the function of his props in one go, which made Nobita feel uneasy. That is to say, if Fat Tiger has been worried about being discovered, then he would have discovered that you were using the prop just now. That's right. But according to the current situation, it seems that the other party doesn't take it to heart at all. Doraemon picked up the sucker again and pushed out all the strange gas inside. The milky white gas gradually formed a cloud in the air with faint flashes of lightning. Looking at the cloud, Doraemon instinctively had a very ominous premonition, as if there was something terrible inside. But he still mustered up the courage to walk in front of it and ask the topic that everyone was most concerned about at the moment. Excuse me, is Fat Tiger really going to quit the music festival and never sing again after he held his farewell concert? Chapter 627 Plan. As soon as he finished speaking, the surrounding environment suddenly became gloomy, and the clouds gradually turned into pure black. Dekisugi subconsciously protected the two of them behind him. Be careful, this cloud gives me a weird feeling. What, is this cloud so powerful? Nobita and Doraemon were also frightened by this scene. It seems that Fat Tiger is really not simple. Dekisugi has transcended the scope of ordinary people. Even he has to be taken seriously. How strong is Fat Tiger's resentment? You are so naive. The black cloud finally spoke. You can figure it out with your toes. How could I, Fat Tiger, voluntarily quit the music industry? These are just excuses. Nobita and the others felt cold in their hearts. Fat Tiger was indeed a fake. He never thought about letting everyone go. Chumushin continued to inquire, then why did you say that you wanted to hold a farewell concert? It's because you and Dazzy didn't let me sing recently, and even if I could find a place to sing secretly, there would be no audience at all, and there would be no passion at all. The other party's voice gradually became gloomy. If you can sing freely under the name of a farewell concert, it will definitely be very popular. Then as long as you shout below that you don't want me to retire, you can make a comeback naturally and continue to sing openly. Amidst a burst of wild laughter, the calamity cloud with lightning slowly dissipated, and the three people present broke out in cold sweats. It's really abominable. Nobita hammered the table hard. I didn't expect Fat Tiger to actually have this idea. Zyadishan was calmer. No, we should have thought of this a long time ago. I didn't see that he had any intention of regretting it at all. Doraemon also put away his props. No matter what, we have to tell others about this. That's right, everyone must know about this, and then work together to find a solution. Everyone rekindled their fighting spirit, and must tell all the classmates the truth. When they were about to go out, Dekisugi suddenly said, wait a minute, I think this is actually an opportunity. Opportunity? Nobita and Doraemon stood at the door and looked at him. Is there still a chance to turn this crisis around? Yes, it is an opportunity. Zyadishan smiled confidently. Although he didn't want to quit, he said it himself after all. Once some things are said personally, no matter whether he wants to do it or not, he has an obligation to complete it. As long as you make good use of this, Fat Tiger, who loves Face very much, will never be able to say that he wants to hold another concert in the future. That's right. Nobita's mind also brightened up. If everyone has no intention of letting him come back, he won't be able to make a comeback. The three of them immediately decided to gather everyone together to discuss and take this opportunity to get rid of Fat Tiger completely. Then everyone split up and planned to gather everyone in an open space to discuss the specific plan for this action. At this time, Yu and Dazi sat in his seat in the room. Well, it's finally done after so long. He put the magic stone with magic patterns on the palm of his hand, and the smile on his face became more gloomy. As long as I have this thing, I won't be harassed by him in the future. When he was imagining a bright future, King Gayu suddenly came in from the side. Brother, what were you doing just now? Nothing, just adding insurance to my life. Yu and Dazi put the magic stone away casually. What about you? Why don't you exercise now and come to watch me? It's like this. Lord Zuling told me to go out and rest these days. It's not good to keep squeezing my body. After hearing his words, Yu and Dazi snorted with some dissatisfaction. Then he should have told me yesterday. King Gayu didn't care, so Lord Zuling said that he wanted you to plan it well and wanted you to take me to a distant place on Saturday. Saturday? That's fine. Yu and Dazi agreed and then walked over. Let's go. It's time to collect rent today. Monday was the day they agreed to collect the beetles. Since King Gayu didn't need to exercise for the time being, let's go together. We have something to do, so we are going out first. Dazi and King Gayu walked to the door together and said to Xiaozi, you can take care of the house by yourself. Xiaozi, who was basking in the sun in the house, was playing with her tail boredly. Don't worry, nothing will happen if I'm not dead. It doesn't have to be that serious. If you can't beat them, just make sure you're alive first. Yu and Dazi put on his shoes and stood up and left with King Gayu. Meow, I hope no one will disturb my sweet dreams. Xiaozi's tail shook twice above his head and then he was ready to go to bed. Now its life is so comfortable. Someone cooks for it every day, and it doesn't have to go to the front line to fight. And most importantly, the two children have been eating at the same table with it, and they don't treat it as a pet at all. In its memory, there is no place that can give it this warm feeling, this warmth called home. He has unknowingly regarded this place as his home, and no one can disturb its tranquility. When it was half asleep and half awake, someone suddenly knocked on the door frantically. Yu and Dazi, we have something important to discuss with you. Really, I'm about to fall asleep. Xiaozi impatiently opened the door with his mental power. Nobita rushed in. Yu and Dazi, Fat Tiger is going to have a concert. Hey, where's Yuan? Xiaozi impatiently slammed his tail on the ground. They have left temporarily. If you have anything to say, just tell me. Yuan and Dazi is not here. There is no point in telling you. Let's talk about it when he comes back. Nobita turned and left, and Xiaozi stood up angrily. Do you look down on cats? Crack. A deep red lightning suddenly struck Nobita's head, leaving a charred area on his body. Nobita, an ordinary person, exhaled a breath of black air. Puff. Are all the creatures in your house so violent? Stop talking nonsense. Just tell me what you want to say. I will naturally convey your opinions to the master. Xiaozi licked his paws, his eyes flashing with ferocity. If you waste my time again, I will turn you into stone. Although he has transformed, he has not forgotten the magic he learned in the demon world, and he is even stronger than before. Yes, it's like this. Nobita told Xiaozi everything they discussed. After remembering it in his heart, Xiaozi flicked his tail and threw Nobita out. I'll tell him, don't bother me if there is nothing. Chapter 628 Personality. Yu and Dazi and his team easily got 2 segmented insects from the queen insect, used the shrinking technique to shrink the insects, and then carried them on their shoulders and took them away. When they walked to the door, they saw Nobita lying half dead on the ground, and they were so scared that they ran over. Nobita, what happened to you? Yu and Dazi helped him up and began to feel his life veins. Soon, he was relieved. Fortunately, the signs of life are very stable, and there is no risk of death. King Gayu noticed the charred black on his body and felt a little strange. Why did he look like he was struck by lightning? Brother, are there any signs that the magic circle here has been triggered? This injury doesn't look like being hit. Yu and Dazi shook his head. How is it possible? He doesn't have the ability to trigger the magic circle I set up around the room. He healed Nobita's injuries while speaking, and that magic circle is specifically for non-ordinary people. That's right. With his ability, if no one guards the door for him, he may not even be able to get in. King Guy also admitted this. Then they thought of the only possibility, although they were unwilling to admit that it was Zyrozy who injured him. After a while, Dakshin woke up, touched his head and sat up. Am I still alive? Then he saw King Guy and Yu and Dazi standing next to him, and began to complain to them. I'm telling you, can you take care of the cat in your house? It's there electrocuting people all day long. And it also threatened me, saying that it would turn me into stone. If I hadn't run fast, I wouldn't be able to see you now. Who knew that? The two of them looked at him with distrust, thinking in their hearts, don't make fun of it. If it really wants to turn you into stone, you will definitely not be able to escape. Thinking about it, Yu and Dazi still apologized to him. Sorry, it's because we neglected to discipline it, that it attacked you. Dakshin gradually calmed down, because he remembered that these two people were not easy to mess with, so he had to pretend to be angry and leave. Forget it this time, I don't want to see it next time. After watching him leave, Dazi handed the segmented insect to King Gyu, and walked into the room with a gloomy face. He has always been very confident in Zyrozy, not only because of the contract, but also because he believes in its execution ability. However, he overlooked the fact that it was once a demon, so it has a bad temper. From what happened just now, it is likely that Nobita said something that made it angry, which led to its attack on him. But no matter how you look at it, this is a bit too much, and its personality is still not suitable for life here. Therefore, Yu and Dazi decided to give Zyrozy a cat transformation before it caused a big disaster, so that it would not be too irritable in the future. King Gyu saw that the situation was not good and hurriedly distanced herself from him. It seemed that he had not seen him angry for so long. Zyrozy, where are you? Yu and Dazi shouted after entering the door. Come here quickly, I have something to find you. What's the matter? Meow. Zyrozy, who was lying dead in the living room, heard his call and rushed to him. Of course it's a very important matter. Yu and Dazi grabbed its ears and began to scold it in the corridor. King Gyu slowly walked around. I won't get involved in this kind of thing. It's better for me to cook dinner. After a while, they returned to the dinner table. Zyrozy no longer had the violent aura before. After a long chat, Zyrozy now looked a little gentler than before. King Gyu looked at Zyrozy, who was eating, and put down her chopsticks helplessly. Brother, did you go too far this time? I think it's a little inappropriate. Yu and Dazi looked at Zyrozy with some doubts and said, it's okay, look how kind it is now. But there is a golden halo on his head. Looking at Zyrozy, who was about to become a Buddha, King Gyu really didn't know what to say. So you don't like this? Yu and Dazi reached out and took off the halo behind Zyrozy's head. I wanted to use this thing to encourage it. King Gyu's eyes turned into dead fish eyes, and he said that he didn't want to talk to this idiot. Oh, by the way, meow. Zyrozy suddenly sat up and said to Yu and Dazi, Nobita just said that Fat Tiger's farewell concert was actually a cover, and he has no intention of leaving the entertainment industry. Don't worry, I knew about this a long time ago. How could he hide his little tricks from me? Yu and Dazi replied casually, then stuffed a mouthful of rice into his mouth. Let him have the last concert of his life. He will never be able to sing again. Looking at Yu and Dazi's smug look, King Gyu was very puzzled. Brother, don't you like other people singing? Brother Demission singing is very nice. It's not that I don't like other people singing. I just simply don't like Fat Tiger's singing. Yu and Dazi sighed helplessly. The reason why you don't reject him is just because you have never heard Fat Tiger sing since you came here. Otherwise you would understand. Then is Fat Tiger singing bad? Meow. Zyrozy asked curiously. It was also curious about what kind of singing could make him feel afraid. Yu and Dazi sighed helplessly. You haven't heard it. His singing is 10 times more terrifying than scratching a blackboard with nails. Fingernails scratching a blackboard? What is that? The two of them looked at each other, and they were very unfamiliar with the sound described by Yu and Dazi. Seeing them like this, Dazi sighed helplessly. Forget it, forget it. You won't understand the fear of being dominated by males and blackboards if you haven't experienced the school days. Let's eat. Oh. King Gaiu and Xiaozi listened to his words and immediately buried their heads in eating, but the curiosity entrenched in their hearts became more intense. During the break on the second day, Daxing took advantage of Fat Tiger's inattention and walked over to Yu and Dazi and whispered, "How about gathering at the back mountain this afternoon?" The back mountain? It's to prevent Fat Tiger from eavesdropping, right? Yu and Dazi instantly understood Daxing's intention. It is very likely to encounter Fat Tiger in other places, but not in the back mountain that is about to become a life forbidden place. The rumor that strange insects are often seen in this place has spread throughout the town, and many people dare not approach it, let alone walk in. Yu and Dazi didn't really want them to get close to the back mountain recently, because there were some things he didn't want them to find out. But he changed his mind and thought that he only needed to deal with it in advance. If he refused now, it would make people suspicious. Okay, I can guarantee that no one will get hurt. Yu and Dazi nodded and agreed to this matter, but when you go in, you must let me walk in front. Chapter 629, Xiaofu's Method. Okay, now let me summarize. Our strategy for dealing with Fat Tiger during this period is roughly the following. Yu and Dazi stood up and said, first, no matter who sees him, they must pretend to be very sad, so as not to make him lose confidence. Second, although we are enthusiastic and can't say we are reluctant to let him go, we must never ask him to come back. Third, when he holds his last concert, no one can make too much noise under any circumstances, and it is strictly forbidden to shout at him not to leave. Then Yu and Dazi took out a necklace. The most important part is to let him wear this bracelet to express everyone's blessings to him before he speaks. As long as he puts on the necklace and says in person that he will never sing again from now on, he must abide by his oath no matter what. Nobita, who reacted the fastest in this regard, understood. Classmate Yuan, is this thing your magic? Woo woo. Before he finished speaking, Yu and Dazi suddenly reached out and covered his mouth. Stop talking nonsense, I haven't finished speaking yet. But in this battle plan, who can make him say that sentence is the key? This task is very difficult. You should be able to handle it, Sunia. Then Yu and Dazi glared at them fiercely. This bastard simply didn't know how to live or die. Didn't he tell him repeatedly not to say in public that he was a magician? If they knew, they would know. If more people knew, the confidentiality would be troublesome. Could they all try to control him with magic? Xiaofu stood up and cleared his throat. Please leave it to me. I will definitely complete this task. After Xiaofu finished speaking, Angsheng suddenly stood up and retorted, is this man reliable? You know, he has been following Fat Tiger all the time. The people around were silent for a while. The problem Angsheng mentioned was also very serious. What if Xiaofu suddenly regretted it? How can you say that? Xiaofu's face turned red with anger. I have always hated Fat Tiger singing. Okay. Think about it. Who would like to listen to him sing? The people around him suddenly became active. Yes, Xiaofu definitely doesn't want to listen to him sing. I believe he will definitely become our ally in this matter. Hearing that everyone was cheering for him, Xiaofu's mood gradually improved. He just enjoyed this feeling of being the center of attention. Very good. That's decided. Yu and Dazi put on his school bag. Now the meeting for Fat Tiger's birthday concert is adjourned. After saying that, Yu and Dazi glanced around again with concern, and only let him go after confirming that Fat Tiger was not there. Now everything is ready, and it depends on how Xiaofu completes the last necessary condition. Everyone went down the back mountain quietly, as if they had come quietly. No one was disturbed during the whole process, so as not to let Fat Tiger find out that something was wrong. After going down the mountain, Xiaofu first found Fat Tiger. Fat Tiger, did you hear that you are saying goodbye to music? What a pity. Fat Tiger looked back at him with tears in his eyes. That's great. Xiaofu, you are really my close friend. You don't want me to leave, right? Hahaha, of course. It's a pity for a genius like you to leave the entertainment industry. Xiaofu said this compliment against his conscience, and then he said that he was about to vomit. Your farewell concert before you leave the entertainment industry must be a big one. Zairofu said with a righteous look on his face. I will find a well-known foreign designer to design a concert costume for you. Hearing this, Fat Tiger was immediately more moved. He didn't expect Zairofu to do this for him. Although he didn't really plan to quit, this specially designed concert can actually be kept, and it will definitely be used in future concerts. The happy Fat Tiger hugged him up. Don't worry, Zairofu, you are definitely my lifelong friend. Zairofu was extremely disgusted in his heart, but he still had to force his smile and push him away. Look at what you said, haven't we been friends for a long time? The two walked into Fat Tiger's house while talking. Zairofu picked up a tape measure and began to measure Fat Tiger's height, weight, and waist circumference. These data are the standards for buying clothes. How could he convince his father to make a set of performance clothes specifically for Fat Tiger? How much money would it cost? Okay Fat Tiger, I've noted it down. Zairofu put the paper with the data back into his pocket. You will receive the tailor-made clothes on the day you sing. But it's only 2 days. Is it enough? Fat Tiger looked at Zairofu with some doubt. Doesn't it usually take several days to make clothes? Zairofu agreed with a smile. It's okay, he is a master. 2 days is more than enough to make a set of clothes. But he sneered in his heart. What a joke. Just buy a cheap performance costume. I don't have that much spare money. If there is no way to make you give up singing forever, I don't even want to buy this set of clothes for you, a gorilla. Then Zairofu put aside the topic and talked about business. Let me tell you, many people are talking about your farewell concert now. They are all reluctant to let you go. They all said that they don't know how to cherish if they had applauded you more at your previous concert. Now when they think that they can't hear your beautiful singing in the future, they are very sad, and they really hope you stay. Fat Tiger was praised by Zairofu so much that he didn't even know where he was, and he felt like he was in the clouds. Seeing that his sweet words were so effective, Zairofu was about to float. Fat Tiger's brain was still as dull as before. But Fat Tiger, no one knows how to express their emotions. Zairofu suddenly changed the topic and said, they don't know what to say to you. The classmates feel that they owe you a lot, so they are afraid to see you, and they don't know how to express their intention to keep you. Because of these reasons, your farewell concert may be a cold reception. Zairofu's words scared him. He didn't expect that everyone would have such emotions. He asked quickly, then what should I do? This is very simple. They don't know how to express their emotions, so just let their emotions burst out. Zairofu whispered in his ear, you just need to say sadly at the end of the concert that since you are so cold, you can only quit the music industry and stop singing in the future. At that time, they will be so reluctant to let you go that they will definitely shout out loud, begging you not to leave. Zairofu demonstrated it for him personally. This kind of natural and sad temperament radiating from the inside out will definitely make them collapse in an instant. Hearing this, Fat Tiger nodded vigorously, stood in front of the mirror, and began to observe his movements. Don't be pretentious. Radiate from the inside out. He repeated Sunia's words while practicing in front of the mirror. Right, that's it. Sunia turned around and left with satisfaction. Fat Tiger, you must practice more. When the time comes, everyone's cheers will definitely make you not want to leave. Work hard. Chapter 630 Simulation Scene. On Wednesday, Doraemon took advantage of the time when everyone was in school and built a performance venue in the open space. And as he stopped Zairofu, are you sure Fat Tiger will not pass by the open space this afternoon? Don't worry, I have already inquired. Fat Tiger has a lot of goods to deliver today and has no time to come here. Zairofu continued confidently. Even if he sees it, it's okay. Anyway, I have already explained everyone's situation to him, and he won't care. The others also breathed a sigh of relief. If Fat Tiger found out that they were secretly rehearsing how to send him away behind his back, wouldn't he chase them to the ends of the earth? Although and as he is very strong and can save them for a while, he can't stay by his side forever. Then everyone go back and put your things. And as he took the lead and walked out of the classroom, we must rehearse the details of the performance today. Half an hour later, everyone gathered in the open space, which was the venue sponsored by and Dazuki. When Xiaoxi, who was far away, arrived at the venue, Doraemon announced that the rehearsal for this afternoon's concert officially began. Okay, everyone, listen to me now. Doraemon stood in front with a microphone. Let's rehearse how to applaud when Fat Tiger sings, okay? The people below raised their hands collectively to indicate that it was okay, and then Nobita walked to the stage, holding the microphone and started singing, I'm Fat Tiger, I'm the king of children. He has tried his best to imitate Fat Tiger's voice, but the people below are clapping and cheering. You sing so well. Sing it again. The applause like a tide continued, and Nobita was a little embarrassed. Was his singing really that good? Even Neo and Daisy couldn't help but applaud. You sing very well. It's simply a song that only gods can enjoy. Seeing this situation, Doraemon had to come up. Stop, stop, stop. You absolutely can't do this. If you do this, Fat Tiger will definitely continue to sing in the future. Nobita also stopped singing, a little embarrassed. Yes, and I don't think my singing should be that good. That's right, you sing very badly. The people below said this very hurtful words in unison, and instantly pierced his heart. Not good. Doraemon was also shocked. Then why are you still applauding him? And you don't look like you are faking it. Yu and Daisy took a pack of biscuits that appeared from nowhere and said, whether it is good or not depends on who you compare it with. The person who usually sings this song is Fat Tiger, and now it has become Nobita. Everyone will naturally feel that Nobita's song is much better than Fat Tiger's. Everyone nodded again. As long as they are not at the level of Fat Tiger, they can say that his song is good against their conscience. Yeah, that's right. Doraemon looked at Shizuka helplessly. Can you help everyone? Hey, me. Shizuka pointed at herself in surprise. Why did this matter come to her? Doraemon took out a violin tremblingly. Please play a song for everyone. The people below were horrified. Are you kidding me? Aren't we just not in good shape? You really need to. Yu and Daisy silently took out earplugs to seal his ears, to prevent his soul from being affected in a while. He had a deep impression of Shizuka's music. That serenade almost cost him his life on her last birthday. Not only was the sound very loud, but the destructive power was even greater than Fat Tiger's singing. It was the perfect choice for silencing someone. And Yu and Daisy still didn't know how Shizuka could use her violin to make a stuttering and knocking sound that was even more severe than sawing wood. Well then. Shizuka took the violin and walked up. I'll just play for everyone once. I hope you don't dislike me. After that, she gently placed the bow on the strings and began to play. Kaka. After a while, Doraemon stood up again. Everyone, stop for a moment. We still need to adjust. How else do we need to adjust? Everyone's eyes were focused on him again, waiting for Doraemon's suggestions. The applause was too small, and we didn't understand the psychological state of wanting Fat Tiger to stay, but being too embarrassed to express it. Junfei stood up helplessly, but he sang so badly, we didn't even feel like applauding. Others also echoed, yes, just enduring his singing has already been all we have to do. Yu and Daisy also nodded in agreement. This time, what everyone said was true. It was too bad. That's a problem too. Doraemon reached into his pocket and started looking for a magic weapon. Then I'll find a suitable prop to use. After groping for a while, he took out a microphone. This is what I need at this time. The reverse microphone. This prop can make the sound volume interchangeable, just right for your small applause. Then he looked around, trying to find a suitable place to put this treasure for Fat Tiger. But the auditorium to the stage was bare, and there was no place to put the microphone. Who will bring a few flower pots from home? It's best to have two identical ones, and not too short. The blue fat man planned to put the flower pots at both ends of the front of the stage, and then put the microphone into the flower pots, and it would work without anyone noticing. Yu and Daisy took out the call machine. Leave this to me. I happen to have one at home. Then he dialed the number at home. Hello, King Yu. Send 2 pots of plants to the open space. The yard will do. Oh my god, it's the call machine. The friends around were all shocked. Does Yu and Daisy actually have such a high-end thing? Nobita's eyes were full of little stars. Hey, classmate Gian, how about lending me this thing to play with? Dream on, you can't afford to pay for it. If you break it. He put away the pager without mercy. A few minutes later, Kingaru came to the open space with 2 pots of emerald green potted plants in her hands. And as he placed the 2 pots of plants on both sides, and Doraemon also installed his props and stood on the stage again. Okay, this is the last rehearsal today. If we pass this time, we can go home. Looking at the friends sitting upright below, Doraemon smiled and stood aside. Well, the last rehearsal starts now. Chapter 631 Gifts Given. For the children in this small town, the darkest day of the year is June 15th. On that day, they all had to listen to Fat Tiger's destructive singing and present their most precious gifts. But on this day this year, everyone came to the open space happily to attend Fat Tiger's birthday farewell concert. Not only because there was no need to give gifts for this birthday, but also because from now on, Fat Tiger would not sing again. Everyone, pay attention, don't squeeze. Doraemon stood at the door to maintain order. Everyone, sit down according to the seats on the ticket. Don't make loud noises here, and pay attention to order. One by one, the children sat in their seats, quietly waiting for the start of this concert. Today's layout is already perfect. If someone disrupts this situation, then no one will let him go. Dazi and Zyashin also found a remote place to sit down, so as not to get hurt by getting too close. Dazi, why are you still here? Chumashin saw that he was so calm and couldn't help asking, why don't you give him the necklace? Yu and Dazi yawned. Of course not now. This necklace must be involved in everyone. Otherwise I will be the only one hated, which is a bit unfair. Hey, what you said seems to make sense, but they should be very sad after being hated by Fat Tiger, right? Yu and Dazi stretched lazily without caring. It doesn't matter, don't they feel comfortable if they are not hated? Speaking of this fact, Chumashin was speechless for a moment. It seems that everyone's life is not very good. Do you understand now? It doesn't make any difference whether it is given early or late. It's better to give this necklace some collection value. Okay then. Zyashin didn't persuade him anymore. Anyway, the plan was not something he could stop. And he believed that Yu and Dazi would never want to hear this kind of off-tune horrible singing again. In the backstage, Fat Tiger changed into the cheap clothes that Zyrofu bought for him and was taking a deep breath inside to calm down. Although it was not his first concert, he was a little nervous because it was so formal this time. Sunia comforted him. Don't worry, Fat Tiger, just sing as if it were a normal concert. Well, I will do my best to sing for them. Fat Tiger nodded vigorously. If the response today is really good, he will definitely hold more concerts in the future. And if everyone likes this song, even his mother will have no reason to stop him from pursuing his dream. Although this ordinary child doesn't know it yet, his future has been tied to the Goten store and he can't leave it. After everyone arrived, Zyrofu took to the stage as the host. Dear students and friends, welcome to Fat Tiger's farewell concert. Today, Fat Tiger's concert has been with you for 3 years. In this process, we have witnessed his growth. But unfortunately, due to some reasons, Fat Tiger has to leave this stage, which makes people sigh. After that, Fat Tiger came up from the backstage. Welcome to my concert. Today I will present the best singing to you. Please enjoy it. Don't be in a hurry. Zyrofu suddenly stopped Fat Tiger. Before that, we invite the audience representative Yu and Dazi to come on stage. Fat Tiger looked at Zyrofu and was a little confused. What's going on? Why didn't anyone tell him that there was this part in the concert? Yu and Dazi walked to the stage under the gaze of everyone and picked up the microphone. Hello everyone, I'm very happy to be selected as the audience representative to speak. Although I have not been here for too long, I have the most experience of Fat Tiger's singing progress. It is much better than before. Hearing this, Fat Tiger's doubts were also diluted a little. Has he really improved? Have you really started to like him? This time I really brought you some bad news. And as he stretched out his hand and placed it in front of Fat Tiger, this genius that everyone loves is about to leave. Fat Tiger's eyes gradually shed tears. Didn't he expect that Yu and Dazi also liked his singing? Great. Dazi took out a necklace from his pocket. This is everyone's gift, and I'm here to give it to you. Fat Tiger wanted to refuse it, but when he saw the necklace for the first time, he couldn't take his eyes off it. The dark blue gemstone matched with a silver white necklace looks like a deep beauty, as if it can even hook away souls. This necklace is really for me? Fat Tiger still couldn't believe it, but it looks expensive. It doesn't seem suitable to be a gift, right? Ignoring his resistance, Yu and Dazzy put the necklace on his neck. Don't refuse, you deserve it. And it represents the feelings of everyone. Do you want to disappoint everyone? Yu and Dazzy pointed to the bottom. All the audience were looking at him, just writing in his eyes begging you to accept it. Then I'll accept it. Fat Tiger finally gave up the resistance and accepted the expensive gift with peace of mind. Then he secretly swore in his heart that he must do his best to sing today's concert. When the people below saw him accept the necklace, everyone's mouth corners couldn't help but rise wildly. Great. Fat Tiger accepted this gift. Then there was only one condition left to be met later, and good days were coming soon. Very good, Fat Tiger. Yu and Dazzy patted his shoulder. Don't worry about singing boldly this time. Everyone will bless you. After that, he ran to his position and turned himself deaf with soul interference. Even if it was Fat Tiger's birthday, Yu and Dazzy would never listen to such horrible singing. After all, his life is his own. Fat Tiger stood on the stage and bowed deeply to everyone. I'm here to thank everyone for the gifts. I didn't expect you to be so good to me. I often bully you, but not only did you not care, but gave me this big surprise. After that, Fat Tiger bowed again. I, Fat Tiger, am here to apologize for what I have done to you. Yu and Dazzy silently breathed a sigh of relief below. Fortunately he didn't say that he would no longer hit people, otherwise I would have lost. Because Fat Tiger couldn't beat him. So if Fat Tiger really swears not to hit people, then it would be a win for others, but Yu and Dazzy would have nothing to watch. After finishing his opening remarks, Fat Tiger picked up the microphone and took a deep breath. Next, please enjoy the performance of the genius Fat Tiger. Chapter 632 Perfect Ending. 2 hours had passed, and Fat Tiger's performance was coming to an end. The audience was almost at their limit. For 2 hours, Fat Tiger was surrounded by applause from the audience, and he was so happy. But the faces of the people below were almost green. It usually took about an hour, but now it hasn't ended in 2 hours. Yu and Dazzy practiced magic without caring. Anyway, he had nothing to do sitting here, so he might as well take the opportunity to improve his strength. Moreover, after he turned himself deaf, Fat Tiger's singing could not cause effective harm to him, so today's magic practice was much smoother than before. Thank you very much for listening. Fat Tiger bowed again on the stage. My farewell concert is about to end. Hearing this, Xiaoshan poked Yu and Dazzy with his elbow, signaling him not to practice anymore. After receiving his signal, Dazzy quickly lifted his spell and was also ready to witness this historic moment. Fat Tiger stood up straight and said, I may not sing anymore in the future. Do you have anything to say at this moment? The people below were silent, and they all buried their heads deeply, pretending to be hesitant to speak. Some people even reached out to wipe their tears and sobbed. He did cry. I endured for so long, just to wait for him to say I will no longer sing. But Yu and Dazzy shook his head and said, no, I must find a way to make him say a positive sentence. Then he immediately sent a message to Xiaofu with his soul. Listen, it must be a positive tone. Ambiguity does not count. Is there such a request? Seeing this, the host Xiaofu had to desperately wink at Fat Tiger above. Fat Tiger on the stage was very moved at this time because someone would cry because of his departure. After receiving Xiaofu's eyes, Fat Tiger immediately understood, and a lonely breath gradually emanated from him. Well, since you guys won't say anything, I will really quit the entertainment industry and never sing again. Although he said that, Fat Tiger was actually very excited. Hurry up, come up and keep me. But at this moment, the necklace on Fat Tiger's neck suddenly emitted a dazzling blue light. What's going on? Fat Tiger panicked. Did you tamper with the necklace? What's going on? He grabbed Xiaofu next to him. Hurry up and tell me what this necklace is. But Xiaofu, who was always very afraid of him, shook his head and just laughed in the same place. Then Xiaofu suddenly disappeared from his side, landed next to Yu and Dazzy, and entered a safe area. The light of the blue gemstone suddenly disappeared after it radiated to the extreme and flew directly into Fat Tiger's body and disappeared. At this time, no matter how stupid he was, he understood that Dazi was the one who was playing tricks from beginning to end. The necklace is not a good thing either. So Fat Tiger came over angrily. I was wondering why they would be willing to give me such a valuable thing. Dazi stretched out his hand to protect Ziofu behind him. Yes, this precious necklace was made by me alone. Are you happy? At this time, Fat Tiger finally walked in front of him, and he did not show any weakness even when facing Dazi, and asked loudly, "Tell me, what is the use of this necklace?" Actually, it's nothing, but it has many benefits. It will strengthen your body and make you less likely to get sick. Dazi still answered him with a smile, but it made Fat Tiger even more uneasy. This thing is called the Oath of Contract. As long as you put it on and say a certain affirmative sentence, it will be activated to make you abide by the oath. Dazi patted him on the shoulder. So do you still remember what you said just now to make it effective? I just seemed to say that I would retire from the entertainment industry from now on and stop singing. Damn it, you dare to plot against me. At this moment, Fat Tiger finally figured out the cause and effect. It turned out that he had gone through so much trouble just to make him stop singing. Okay, you guys, you really deserve a beating. Fat Tiger turned around and looked at all the audience. No one who came here today, don't even think about taking out my palm. He was in a very good mood today. Not only did the concert achieve good results, but he also received such a great gift. But at that moment just now, he realized that the concert and the necklace were just props to make him take the bait. At this time, Fat Tiger's face turned red, his hair was all over his fingertips, and his whole body seemed to be on fire. He urgently needed to find a place to vent his anger. Dazi jumped back in fear. Yo, I didn't expect you to explode because of this kind of thing. Fortunately, I have a backup plan. Come on, close the door and let Shizuka. I seem to hear someone calling me. Shizuka appeared behind Fat Tiger like a ghost and gently placed his 10 fingers on his temple. Then Fat Tiger quickly calmed down and the whole person stood there as if thinking about why he was angry just now. But several students in the dark world could see that there was a black mist on Fat Tiger's head slowly flowing into Shizuka's hand. The other students also stopped running because Fat Tiger had no intention of chasing, so they naturally didn't need to run away. Dazi walked up to him proudly. How is it? Are you still angry now? Fat Tiger shook his head in confusion. No, why should I be angry? All the students present cheered immediately, which meant that from now on Fat Tiger's singing would never bother them again. And Shizuka also happily moved his hand away. I really didn't expect that I would gain so much this time. He placed his hand in front of Dazi, and a cluster of black flames slowly rose from his hand. This is my new ability. Dazi pushed his hand away uncomfortably. I see. It seems that after you absorb enough emotions, you will unlock the corresponding ability. Well, yes. It seems that I have to try to collect more single negative emotions in the future. Shizuka also put away the black flame. Well, the next is the final chapter of this birthday party. Don't say that you have forgotten this important thing. Don't worry, how could I forget this? This is the soul of the birthday party. Dazi waved to the back, and King Gayu pushed out a huge 3-layer cake from the back. How can a birthday party without cake have a soul? Fat Tiger looked at the huge cake and was even happier. Classmate Gian, is this the surprise you gave me? Great. Then he stood in front of the cake and raised his knife and fork. All classmates listen. Come to me to share the cake. Yeah. The nearby children rushed over and surrounded the big cake with great joy. Fat Tiger's birthday party ended with a happy ending. Chapter 633, Sunia's Travel Invitation. After eating and drinking, Dazi returned home and saw King Gayu sitting at the desk, worrying about a math problem. Why are you reading this? Dazi walked over and touched his head. Are you interested in math now? King Gayu shook his head with a bitter face and put down the book helplessly. Who would be interested in this thing for nothing? It's boring and tasteless. It's because the ancestor spirit asked me to learn about your society. I won't touch these things. It's boring. Ah, old man Ling Feng? Why did you ask him to do math problems? Does he immediately found the soul-devouring monument spirit next to him? This was not in line with his usual style. Shouldn't he ask King Gayu to work hard to exercise so as to increase his ability to save his life? It can't be helped. Soul Devourer Monument spread his hands to show his helplessness. Who told you humans are the ones who are in charge of the world now? If he doesn't know anything about human society, then he can't integrate into this society, right? Besides, learning these things when he's free is good for his intellectual development, so just think of it as doing it for his own good. Okay, whatever you want. You and DazZHI didn't care about these little things. After all, Soul Devourer Monument has been a guide for so many years, so he must have some ideas in his mind. After school on Friday, Ziofu suddenly found Yu and DazZHI. Yu and classmate, come to the open space later. Go to the open space? Is there anything important? Yu and DazZHI thought about it, and it seemed that there was nothing important to discuss. Ziofu grinned. Of course, we are going to travel to celebrate Fat Tiger's farewell to the entertainment industry. Travel? Do you want to take me with you? He was a little surprised. This guy didn't even call him on his birthday, so why did he call him over to play at this time? Of course, otherwise why would I ask you to do that? Sunia poked him with his elbow. Because you are the one who made Fat Tiger bid farewell to the entertainment industry. That's right. Is it convenient for me to bring one more person? Yu and Daz suddenly remembered that he was going to take King Gayu out to play on Saturday. He had forgotten about this matter because of Fat Tiger's farewell concert these days, so it was just right to take him out for a walk. Of course, no problem. Sunia snapped his fingers. Just replace Nobita's position. Anyway, he hasn't been notified yet. Hearing Sunia's words, Yu and Daz silently apologized to Nobita in his heart. Really sorry for taking your position. Well, it's nothing. Yu and Daz suddenly felt relieved. Anyway, Nobita will definitely ask Doraemon to bring him when the time comes. He immediately thought of the routine that worked in this world. It wasn't the first time that Sunia didn't take Nobita out to play. Almost every time, Nobita borrowed better props from the blue fat man, and then everyone envied him. But then again, how did Nobita survive in the days without Doraemon? It's really pitiful. After returning home, King Gayu was refining blood and demon power in the yard. Yu and as he went over to say hello. Don't practice anymore. Get ready to go out for a trip. Huh? So soon? King Gayu turned around in surprise. Because the plan was to go out tomorrow, their training plan for today was full. Yes, someone happened to be going out, so he took us out together. I was too lazy to choose a place. He threw his school bag into the room casually. We are leaving now. Can't we leave today? King Gayu didn't say anything and cast his eyes on the soul-devouring monument. Now all this is decided by the old man. Ling Feng thought for a while and nodded. Go with him. There are some benefits to traveling with others. Yeah, great. King Gayu rushed into the room and began to pack his luggage. And as he didn't need to do this because his things were always kept in his cloak, so there was no need to pack. After a while, King Gayu came to him with a small school bag on his back. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's go. And as he took his hand and walked in front of him to prevent him from getting lost on the road. When they arrived at the open space, Yu and Azzy took out a comic book, and King Gayu took out an exercise book with a bitter face. Although he didn't need to practice, the old man required him to learn this knowledge, and couldn't even rest during this period. More than 10 minutes later, Sunia, Fat Tiger and Shizuka came to the open space together, followed by Dekisugi. You're really early. Ziofu stood on the cement pipe. This time we are going to the Maldives. Hearing this place, Yu and Azzy was a little surprised. Oh, I thought you would choose Hawaii. How could it be Hawaii? Yu and classmate, have you forgotten everything you promised us before? Everyone present immediately remembered. Last time you borrowed Nobita's island, didn't you promise to take us to Hawaii? After everyone reminded him, he suddenly realized, so that's how it is. No wonder you chose the Maldives. Fat Tiger laughed. Of course not. This is the first time you, a stingy person, have spent a lot of money. How could everyone forget about this? We have been waiting for it. I think I should be more generous than you, right? After all, I'm using my own money. And as he spread his hands helplessly. Since he promised, he would not break his promise. Anyway, he still has more than 500 million in funds. He didn't believe it. Could taking these kids to Hawaii make him bankrupt? Oh no, that's bad. Shizuka covered her face and shouted, if we go to Maldives, a swimsuit seems to be indispensable. I don't have it in my luggage. Fat Tiger was also shocked. He didn't bring swimming trunks either. Now he has to go back and get them. Oh, this is really a big trouble. And as he looked at Kingayu next to him, this kid doesn't seem to have swimming trunks yet. How about you sacrifice your cloak? Then he denied his idea. No, it always feels a bit weird to wear it after turning into swimming trunks. At this time, Darkstar Cloak finally breathed a sigh of relief. I'm a combat magic weapon, not your personal clothing. Zairofu raised his hand and looked at his watch. It doesn't matter, there is still about an hour left. Everyone go back and get it, and then gather directly at my house. The others raised their hands and agreed. No problem, you must wait for us. And as he also pulled Kingayu who was still doing homework. Let's go. I have to buy you a pair of swimming trunks, and by the way, buy 2 new sets of clothes. In a blink of an eye, the open space was empty, leaving Zairofu alone in the open space. Has everyone left? Well, I'll go back too. He jumped off the cement pipe and also set foot on the road home. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 634, Diverting Trouble. Just when he reached the edge of the open space, Nobita suddenly came over and greeted him. Sunia, where are you going? Sunia stopped and looked at him with interest. Are you talking about me? Nobita was stunned when he heard this and looked around. Who else could he be talking about? There seemed to be no one else here, right? Seeing his confused look, Sunia felt better. We are going to the Maldives. How about it? Are you envious? What? Going to the Maldives? Nobita was shocked instantly. He didn't even know about such a big thing. But it's okay, at least he won't have the chance to be bullied by Sunia for a while. Wait. Nobita woke up from his little luck. Did you just say us? Sunia smiled and nodded. Of course it was them. If he was alone, he would definitely show off in front of everyone after he came back from the trip. In that case, Fat Tiger and Shizuka are going too. At this point, Nobita began to miss Shizuka. Sunia continued to nod. That's right. In addition to them, and Azi and Dekisugi are also going. Nobita was shocked again. If that was the case, would he be the only one left on this holiday? Sunia. Nobita suddenly changed his face. Can you take me with you? Ah, it was possible. Sunia glanced up and pretended to be extremely innocent. Nobita's eyes flashed with gold. Then take me alone, please. Seeing Nobita like this, Sunia's heart was filled with joy. What he liked most was to see Nobita begging him. But he couldn't agree to it because the private plane could only seat so many people and Nobita had no room. As for giving up and Azi and the others? Are you kidding? Can you give up? By then, since he had offended and Azi, Doraemon would not stand up to support him. He would not be so stupid. So Sunia pushed him away. Give up. Your and Doraemon's place has been taken by and Azi and Kingayu. Kingayu? Who is that? Because he and Kingayu had met less often, and he didn't know his name when they met, so he was not familiar with this person's name. Don't you know? Sunia's expression was very shocked. It's the kid who always follows and Azi and calls him brother. Kingayu looked younger than them, even shorter than Sunia, so Sunia called him a kid. What? It's him. Nobita gave up instantly. He knew that he was one of the few superpowers in this town, and he was not someone a kid like him could afford to offend. Instead of expecting the other party to give up his place, it would be more practical to go back and ask Doraemon to take the props. Nobita, I know you are disappointed. Sunia stepped forward and patted him on the shoulder, but there is nothing we can do about it. Just bear with it. Then his face was suddenly filled with sadness. It was that bastard and Azi who forced me to give that position to him. After hearing what Sunia said, Nobita clenched his fists. That guy and Azi Can he do whatever he wants just by relying on his ability? Gian and as he, who was picking clothes for Kingayu in the clothing store, suddenly sneezed and blew his nose hard. Seeing that he was feeling a little uncomfortable, Kingayu asked worriedly, "What's wrong, brother? Do you have a cold?" "No, I won't catch a cold." And as he rubbed his still slightly itchy nose with his fingers and said affirmatively, "Someone must be secretly saying bad things about me behind my back. It's better not to let me know that it's that bastard." Then he put a new set of children's clothes into his pocket. "Waiter, I want this set of clothes. And this pair of shoes." In the open space, Nobita returned to the room helplessly. Even if he knew that Yu and Dazi had taken his place, he could do nothing about it. With his martial arts value, can he still go head on with that terrifying guy? Don't dream. Doraemon, do you have any props that can take me to the Maldives to play? I also want to go and see it. The blue fat man closed his book. "What's wrong? Doesn't Sunia take you with him when he goes out to play?" Nobita nodded, then shook his head, leaving Doraemon confused. What exactly happened? If you have anything to say, just tell us, and we can discuss it together. There's no need to act like spies. Nobita still didn't say anything. Doraemon looked impatient. Don't act like you've thrown your vocal cords out there. I think you're tired, okay? At this point, Nobita finally laid on Doraemon's legs and burst into tears. Wow, Doraemon. And days he took my seat. After hearing Nobita's explanation, the blue fat man was confused. Huh? You're mistaken. Why does he need to fight with you for a seat? The other party can even go to the universe by himself. Why does he need to fight for a seat with a powerless person like you? Nobita nodded vigorously. Yes, Sunia said he was going to take me out to play, but you and days he insisted on taking Kingayu with him. Really? I always feel that this is just an excuse to reject you, not something they forced. Doraemon touched his chin and thought, it should be you and Dazi who mentioned it casually. Otherwise, with his current ability, the earth should go with him. Nobita was silent for a while. This matter seemed to make sense, but this was not the point. Doraemon, I don't care about who took my place. I wonder if you can take me to the Maldives to play with them. If you had said it earlier, wouldn't it be very simple? Doraemon's hand reached into his pocket, but he suddenly stopped. Wait, I can take you to the Maldives, but there is a condition. Nobita's eyes lit up. Tell me, I will agree to whatever you say. Before you go, you have to finish your weekend homework, otherwise I will never help you go to the Maldives. Okay, no problem. Nobita rushed to his seat without saying a word and began to do his homework seriously. Doraemon also lay down with satisfaction. It seems that he really wants to go, otherwise he wouldn't do his homework so seriously. Then he turned over and continued to read comics. He hasn't been out for a while. Let's take him out for a good time after he finishes his homework. Not long after, everyone gathered again in front of Sunia's house, and now everyone's bags were obviously bulging. Okay, everyone is ready. Sunia opened his hands and pointed at the man behind him. This is the cousin who will take you out today, Cousin. Chapter 635 First Trip. A 1.8 meter tall man with brown hair and a pointed mouth came out from the back. Hi, everyone. Hello, Cousin. Everyone greeted him tacitly to express the most basic respect for him. He walked in front of everyone. Everyone who is going should have arrived, right? When everyone arrives, we will go to the airport first, and then show you my private plane. Wow, it's a private plane. Fat Tiger's eyes flashed with golden stars. He has been dreaming of this flying thing for a long time. Usually he envied ordinary remote-controlled helicopters to death. Not to mention that now the real plane is really in front of him. Yes, a private plane. Cousin Ammon rubbed his curly hair. It took me a long time to pass the pilot's license. After passing the driver's license, he naturally wanted to fly the plane out to show off, so as to show his greatness. At this time, Ziofu happened to say that he wanted to go out to play, and he agreed after a little thought. After all, these children who had never seen the world were the best candidates for him to show off his helicopter. Okay, it's useless to stay here now. Everyone come and get in the car. Cousin Ammon pointed to the extended version of the car in the garage. This is the car of Cousin Ziofu Aji. He lent it to me to pick you up. There is no other way. The only car that can seat so many people is Kuzunagi's extended version of the sports car. Everyone got on the car one by one. Ziofu still sat in the co-pilot, announcing the organizer of this trip. Fat Tiger and Shizuka sat in the middle. In the last row, only the three of Yu and Dazi had to squeeze in. Anyway, there was room. After getting in the car, Kingayu continued to take out the homework to do. Now that the homework is done, you can play without worry later. We are about to set off. Ziofu pointed to a cabinet next to Fat Tiger. There are iced drinks there. If you are thirsty, you can take them out and drink them directly. Wow, there are drinks? Fat Tiger immediately opened the cabinet and took out a lot of drinks from it to distribute to everyone. Ziofu said quickly, Fat Tiger, get me a bottle of orange juice. I don't want to drink Coke now. Fat Tiger did as he was told. Although he was a little rude, he still had some emotional intelligence at this time. The other party was the organizer of this travel plan. At this time, no matter what, he had to give him some face. Here, Kingayu, this is yours. And as he handed the juice to Kingayu, and at the same time, he sent a soul message. Whether it tastes good or not, don't be too surprised. Kingayu nodded and obediently filled the juice and then stared at it in a daze. Although he has lived in modern times for a while, he has basically been practicing, so he basically has no chance to come into contact with these things. And as he had to reach out and help him open the pull ring. Remember, this thing is called a can. Open it like this. Kingayu nodded, then curiously picked up the can and drank a little tentatively. Soon, he fell in love with the sweet taste, raised his head, and drank the remaining juice in one gulp, and smacked his lips with satisfaction. Brother, this stuff tastes really good. He put the can in front of Yu and Dazi. Can you buy some and keep them at home in the future? He always remembered Yu and Dazi's instructions and spoke in a low voice, not even noticed by Chumashin next to him. Don't we always have it at home? Yu and Dazi looked at him puzzledly. It's in the refrigerator. Don't you see it? Kingayu's face changed to a puzzled expression. Is it there? Why didn't I see it before? That's because I didn't let you drink it. These things in your hand are of no benefit to the body that needs to be tempered. The voice of the soul-devouring monument sounded in their souls, so you can't drink these drinks in the future. At most, you can only drink some milk, understand? After listening to the old man's words, Kingayu placed his hopeful eyes on Yu and Dazi, hoping that he could say a few words for him. There's nothing we can do. If he says so, then let it be. Yu and Dazi could only spread his hands to indicate that he had no choice. Who told the demon race that all their skills are based on a strong physique? Hearing even Yu and Dazi say so, Kingayu had no choice but to give up, threw the can aside, and continued to do her homework. Old man Lingfeng continued to instruct Yu and Dazi. Remember, don't give him money, otherwise he will go around buying food. At this moment, Lingfeng suddenly thought, by the way, did you bring segmented insect meat when you went out just now? And as he subconsciously flipped his cloak, I should have brought it, right? But why do you take that thing when you go out to play? You don't need to practice. It's not a question of whether to practice or not. I said before that ordinary food is difficult to replenish your body's needs. Only segmented insects that contain rich blood and ki can do it. Although you can use demon power and magic to ensure that your body will not be hungry, it will affect your practice progress, understand? And as he yawned, I know. Is there anything else now? If not, I'm going to take a rest. Lingfeng was very speechless. He always felt that he really didn't listen to a word of the important things he told him seriously. After spending nearly an hour in the luxury sports car, they stopped at the Tokyo airport and prepared to transfer here. Okay, everyone get off the car. Kuznaman parked the car and shouted to the children behind him. Next we are going to the airport to take the private plane I just bought. When he said this, he emphasized that it was his helicopter, and there was a hint of excitement in his words. After all, it was the first time for him to fly a plane after getting his driver's license, and it was inevitable that he could fly a plane at this age. Seeing that everyone else had left, Yu and as he picked up the drowsy Kingayu, let's go, get off the car. Brother, I feel a little dizzy, am I sick? He covered his head and looked a little uncomfortable. Isn't this nonsense? It would be strange if you don't feel dizzy when doing homework in such a shaking car. Come out and walk. Doing things that require high concentration in the car will aggravate motion sickness, just like playing with a mobile phone in the car. But just get off the car and walk a few steps, breathe more fresh air, and it will generally be no big problem. After explaining the situation to the staff, Ammon walked to a brand new plane. This is my plane. Wow, so cool. Fat Tiger rushed to the side of the 8-meter long and 4-meter high private small plane and touched it reverently. And as he didn't care much and walked straight into the space inside the plane, ready to take a nap here. After everyone got on the plane, Ammon started the plane and began the 5-hour journey. Chapter 636 Accommodation. By the time we landed at the airport in the Maldives, it was already 8 o'clock in the evening, and everyone was already feeling a little tired. And as he yawned out of boredom, really, when we went to Kaguya Star, we didn't even have to sit in the car for so long. Everyone nodded in agreement. The underdeveloped means of transportation seriously affected everyone's experience of the tour. Huh? What Kaguya Star? Cousin Ammon turned around and said, is that a playground? Why haven't I heard of it? Ah, it's nothing. We just mentioned it casually just now. Everyone laughed and tried to fool around with this important matter. Oh, really? Cousin Aji didn't care, just thinking that the child was talking nonsense. As for whether they had left the earth, he had never thought about this matter because human science and technology could not reach this level at all. Even astronauts had to undergo rigorous training and be fully armed before going out. He didn't believe that these children could go out. You are lucky. The hotel we booked is right next to the airport. It only takes more than 10 minutes to get there by car. Cousin Aji unbuckled his seatbelt. Are you all hungry now? Let's take the car quickly and taste the delicious food here. Great. Everyone was full of energy again, jumped out of their seats, and rushed to the exit of the airport. Kingai also put away her school bag. Great. I have finished all the homework for these 3 days, and I can play without worry tomorrow. The old man didn't assign him much homework, but it was his first time to come into contact with this thing, so he wrote it very slowly. Ah, what an energetic child. Cousin Ammon smiled and left the plane. After locking the door, he followed him out. Children, don't run around. Follow me here. Cousin Ammon called Fat Tiger and others who were about to run to the beach. We have to take a car here to go to the hotel, understand? After Cousin Ammon called again and again, Fat Tiger and others ran back from the beach with reluctant expressions on their faces. Don't be so anxious. And as he went up and patted him on the shoulder, it's too late today. Let's play slowly tomorrow. You're right, and the beach is too unsafe at night. If you drown, others may not see it. After hearing what Cousin Ammon said, Fat Tiger snorted disdainfully. How could I drown? Only that idiot Nobita would. D-Mushin didn't quite agree with his point of view. Don't say that. According to statistics, among the people who drown every year, more than 80% of them can swim. Because people who can't swim basically won't go into the water, but those who are good at swimming often have accidents in rivers or the sea. Ah, is that so? Fat Tiger looked at the beach with some horror. He always thought that only people who couldn't swim would drown. You're right, nature is ruthless. So at this time, the spirit of human solidarity is particularly important. And as he looked at the nearby highway, okay, let's skip this heavy topic. The bus is coming. A white bus slowly stopped by the roadside. After Ammon's cousin confirmed that it was the bus they were going to take, he waited for all the children to get on the bus before he got in. After all, these children were brought by him, so it was Ammon's cousin's duty to take them all back. Not long after, they got off the bus at their destination, Haifeng Hotel. Hello, my name is Gucho Ammon. I have booked 2 family suites here. This is my identity information. He handed the prepared materials to the front desk lady, and after checking the computer, the lady handed 2 magnetic cards to Ammon. This is your room card. Please keep it properly. Thank you. Don't worry, I will definitely not lose it. Ammon smiled back at the lady, and then put the 2 cards in his 2 hands respectively. Children, come here. We have 2 rooms. 3012 and 3015. How do you plan to arrange them? Each room has 3 beds, but there are 7 people here, so 2 people must sleep on one bed. Do we still need to divide them? The old rules. Ziofu handed a room card to Yu and Dazi and the others. This is for the 4 of you. The 4 people he mentioned refer to the 3 people of Fat Tiger and Yu and Dazi. He let Yu and Dazi and the others decide which 2 people will sleep on the same bed. As for Shizuka, the only girl in the team, she naturally wanted to rest with them. How could they let Fat Tiger, a rough guy, disturb Shizuka's rest? Well, okay. Yu and Dazi did not refuse. After all, Ziofu's family was the host this time, so he naturally followed his arrangement. However, he thought sinisterly in his heart, just wait, when we are in Hawaii, I will definitely let you and Fat Tiger share a bed. After deciding his tragic fate, everyone went to the 3rd floor together, found their own rooms, and swiped their cards to enter. When he saw the layout of the room, Yu and Dazi breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, this place is better than I expected. He originally thought that the 3 beds here were placed in a large room, but Yu and Dazi obviously underestimated the quality of accommodation in a luxury hotel. After entering, the first thing he saw was the living room, which also had a large screen TV and a set of video games. The 3 small beds were placed in 3 small rooms connected to the living room, and each bed was so soft that people could sink into it. How do you allocate rooms tonight? Chumashin looked at Fat Tiger. You live in a room by yourself, is that okay? Fat Tiger was stunned and suddenly felt that happiness came so quickly. Can he enjoy the treatment of a single bed? TSK, are you going to give this precious single room to him? Yu and Dazi complained indignantly. If no one can tolerate your snoring, I don't want to. Seeing Fat Tiger walk towards a room, Chumashin looked at Kingayu. Do you want to live alone or live with someone? Of course I want to live with my brother. Kingayu gave her answer directly without any hesitation. Okay, let's arrange the rooms for today. Yu and Dazi picked up Kingayu's luggage. Let's live in the big room. Chumashin also carried his school bag and walked into the last room. He would settle down like this tonight. No way. Fat Tiger put his luggage away and walked to the living room. Let me use this TV to order songs and sing a song. He took out a CD and put it into the machine. Let me sing to my heart's content tonight. RRR. As soon as he finished speaking, a strong electric light flashed on his body, electrocuting him half to death. Fat Tiger, who didn't believe in evil, was electrocuted for half a night before he completely calmed down. Chapter 637. Late Conflict. The next morning, the 3 of Yu and Dazi got up with dark circles under their eyes and yawned heavily. Brother, what's going on? Kingayu rubbed his eyes and asked, why did that Fat Tiger scream all night? This is because the necklace we gave him on his last birthday is working. He looked at Fat Tiger outside and said weakly, now whenever he wants to sing, he will be cured of his singing addiction by Yanks in therapy. After hearing what Yu and Dazi said, Kingayu touched his stomach. Okay, what should I eat in the morning? I feel like my stomach is about to burst. Yu and Dazi took out a piece of paper from his pocket. Here, this is all I have, just eat it. Kingayu took the paper, which had a picture of barbecue on it, which made him speechless. Can this thing be eaten? Oh, sorry, I forgot again. Yu and Dazi stretched out his hand and tapped on the paper, and a plate of barbecue suddenly popped out of the paper. Then he explained to Kingayu, this is the magic that I stole from the full moon priest last time. We call it dimensionality reduction strike, but compared to combat, it seems to be more effective in storage. Kingayu didn't listen to the rest of the words at all, because he was busy eating meat, and didn't care to listen to what he said. After all, he only ate food from the restaurant last night, but for a kill-in, it was not enough to be hungry. Yu and Dazi yawned again. I wonder how Fat Tiger is doing now. Is he still alive? When he walked out of the room, he saw Fat Tiger lying on the carpet. His eyes revealed that he seemed to have completely lost his dream. Why are you sleeping here? Yu and Dazi walked to his side. Is it because the bed over there is uncomfortable to sleep on? Seeing Yu and Dazi coming out, he immediately jumped up. What the hell is going on? Don't tell me you don't know. Last night, whenever he started singing, he would be inexplicably shocked. If you say that this matter has nothing to do with you and Daisuke, he would never believe it. Who else can do this except him? Didn't you say you wouldn't sing anymore? The necklace I gave you last time was to keep your promise. Fat Tiger grabbed his collar. What did you say? Is this the reason you gave me the necklace last time? It wasn't bought by everyone. Yu and Dazhi nodded expressionlessly. Of course it's true, but it's true that I came here to give it to you on behalf of everyone. Asshole, I must beat you to death. Fat Tiger clenched his fists, and the muscles on his hands bulged, but a fist fell on his face faster. Huh. Little guy. Soul power emerged from Dazhi's hands. Although Shizuka is not here, I can still beat you. Look at my personality correction fist. Kingayu and Emushan were also disturbed by the sudden scream, and walked out of the room. What the hell happened? Why are you so noisy? As soon as they came out, they saw Dazhi beating Fat Tiger, and then Fat Tiger rushed up to fight back, but was pinned to the ground by Yu and Dazhi. Hey, why are you two fighting again? Emushan quickly separated the two to prevent Fat Tiger from getting hurt. Yu and Dazhi used his mental power to pick up the note on the ground, which was full of words such as anger and irritability. Yu and Dazhi, why are you bullying these kids again? Chumushin was very helpless and checked Fat Tiger's body to see if he was injured. This time it's really not my fault. Yu and Dazhi pointed at the grinning Fat Tiger. He started it first. If you don't believe me, go ask him. Zyadishin glanced at Fat Tiger who was still grinning. What do you think you can get out of him now? He seemed to be beaten silly by you. That's right, I started it first. Fat Tiger laughed and clapped his hands. Yu and Dazhi was just self-defense. It has nothing to do with him. Looking at Fat Tiger who was still drooling, Zyadishin felt cold in his heart. It's over. He really beat him silly this time. See, it's just like what I said. Yu and Dazhi pulled up Kingayu who was still in a daze. Let's go eat now, and ignore these two people. Yu and Dazhi was not worried about Fat Tiger's situation. Anyway, he just beat Fat Tiger's emotions. After a while, when his soul gives birth to other emotions again, it will return to normal. As for the possible sequel, at most, it is a little tired because of the emotions, which will not have any great impact. After walking out of the door, Yu and Dazhi came to the room where Ziofu and the others lived, opened the door. It's almost 8 o'clock now. Why haven't you gotten up yet? After a while, Shizuka's voice came from inside. Wait a minute, we are still queuing up to wash up. Let's go to eat together after everyone finishes washing up. Yes, I forgot about this. He immediately used his magic to clean himself and Kingayu. Not long after, Fat Tiger and Zyadishin, who had finished washing up, also came over from the side. How is it? Haven't they finished yet? At this time, the door suddenly opened, and the three of them came out. Okay, we are done here too. Let's go to eat together. When they came to the restaurant, the breakfast shop on the first floor had breakfast from almost all over the world, which made them very happy. What a happiness it is to be able to eat breakfast in your hometown in a foreign place. This is also the marketing method of the hotel, in order to facilitate guests from all over the world to eat. After breakfast, Amon took everyone to the beach of Maldives. Today, I will give you a surprise. Surprise? Everyone was looking forward to it. Could it be that this cousin has something good? Ziofu raised his chin and thought, surprise, Maldives. By the way, cousin, the speedboat should not be here. Hearing him say this, Amon's cousin looked smart, as expected of Ziofu. You guessed it right. The speedboat you are looking for is here. Really? I thought dad bought it in Hawaii. Where is the speedboat? Ziofu looked around, trying to find their speedboat. No need to look for it, it's here. Amon pointed to the golden and white speedboat, and a smile appeared on his face unconsciously. And Fat Tiger and the others did not disappoint him, shouting loudly, wow, it's really a speedboat. Ziofu, your family is really rich. Others also had more or less envious expressions on their faces. Of course, Yu and Dazhi and the others were just pretending. Okay, let's get on the boat. Cousin Amon stepped onto the deck first. I'll go drive the boat first. After the speedboat enters a nearby deep water area, everyone can go swimming in the sea. Great. The children rushed to the boat full of energy, with anticipation written all over their faces. Chapter 638 Bionic Submarine. Doraemon looked at Nobita, who was sleeping soundly on the chair, and nudged him happily. Nobita, get up. Huh? Is it dawn? Nobita slowly sat up from his seat and yawned. He spent half the night doing homework yesterday, and didn't fall asleep until 3 o'clock. So he only slept for 6 hours now. For Nobita, who is known as the god of sleep, this amount of time is just a drizzle at most, and it can't relieve his fatigue at all. Doraemon grinned at him. You actually finished your homework in one night. It's amazing. What? I finished it. Nobita quickly took the notebook from the table and began to read it carefully. Sure enough, all the answers were filled in wherever they needed to be filled in, although it was not known whether they were correct. Great Doraemon. He took the blue fat man's hand and said, in this case, we can go to the beach to play, right? Doraemon nodded vigorously, of course. But you have to eat breakfast first. Then Doraemon took out a box of milk and a sandwich from his pocket to give Nobita nutrition. Nobita was not polite and took the food and began to wolf it down. Although doing homework does not require exercise, the energy consumed is no less than other exercises, so he will get hungry quickly. Seeing him wolfing down, Doraemon was even happier. Since Nobita has met my requirements, I can't let him down. I have to see what props are better to use at that time, and I must surprise all of them. And most importantly, I must not let those superpowers like Yu and Daisy do the same thing. Because Nobita finished his homework, Doraemon was very concerned about this trip, and he also hoped that Nobita would be happier. I'm done. Nobita put away the empty plate and milk carton. Doraemon, when are we going to the beach? I can't wait. Doraemon didn't answer, but took out a random door and set the coordinates to Maldives. Let's go now. He changed into an angry expression. Since they don't take you, then let's let them envy you. After opening the door, the opposite position was already on the sea, and there was no land nearby. Go directly to the sea. Nobita shrank back in fear, but I can't swim. What if I drown in the sea? Don't worry, we don't have to contact the sea water directly. Because we have this prop, the bionic submarine. Doraemon took out a palm-sized boat from his pocket. Nobita instantly became dead fish eyes. Although he didn't read much, how could such a small submarine possibly hold people? And this thing is too small. Even whether it can dive is an unknown number. Don't worry, just follow me. Doraemon put the submarine on the doorsill and opened the lid. This thing is a prop with a Gulliver tunnel. As long as you actively approach this submarine, your body will automatically become smaller. As he said this, he stretched out his hand to the entrance of the submarine, and then his body flew directly into it. See, it can carry people now. Doraemon waved in the submarine. Nobita, you coming quickly too? Okay, I'll try it too. Nobita also put his hand close to the entrance, and then his body flew directly to the co-pilot like Doraemon. The whole process did not feel any discomfort, just felt that he had lost gravity for a while, and there was no other feeling. Wow, the props of the future are so convenient. Nobita bounced a few times in his position, and it's so soft and comfortable to sit on. Doraemon smiled. This is the pinnacle of future props. How could it be uncomfortable? Nobita, fasten your seatbelt. The blue fat man pressed the start button. Now we are going to set off. It may be a little bumpy. As soon as the voice fell, the carp-shaped submarine suddenly did a carp jump and jumped into the sea. Nobita was even more pitiful because he had no time to fasten it after hearing the preview. After entering the water, the submarine was like a dead fish, motionless in the sea and still diving. Doraemon, why is this ship not moving? Nobita was even more panicked after fastening his seatbelt. Is there something wrong with your prop again? No, the reason why it is not moving now is because of the working mechanism of this submarine. If you don't understand, don't talk nonsense. Doraemon was a little speechless. Why does this guy think in a bad direction all day long? Am I so untrustworthy? This thing is a bionic device, so it needs biological organisms. Doraemon began to search for nearby marine animals. For example, the long hairtail fish over there. Look at me. Doraemon aimed the red heart on the screen at the leisurely hairtail fish and pressed the imitation button on the console. A line of red font appeared on the big screen, reading the biological information. Reading successfully. Start imitation. After a few seconds, The red words on the screen disappeared, but there was no change in the cockpit, where Nobita and his friends were. Nobita looked at Doraemon, not knowing what was going on. What happened this time? Don't panic, I haven't officially controlled the submarine yet. The blue fat man slowly pushed the propulsion lever. The surrounding scenery suddenly began to change, and began to slowly swim forward, and the space behind seemed to be constantly swaying. This prop is to analyze the body data of the other party by scanning marine life, and then show it on the submarine. Doraemon adjusted the screen to a god's perspective. Just now we analyzed the marine hairtail, and now our submarine has become a hairtail. Although the alien has changed, the interior of this submarine is a hyperspace, so it will not change due to external deformation. But because the hairtail moves forward by swinging its tail, the internal hyperspace is also affected a little. Listening to his explanation, Nobita suddenly felt that he had opened the door to a new world. This prop is really great. Doraemon, after you record it now, can you still record other marine life? I feel that the hairtail is too tasteless. Of course. Doraemon left the control panel and let Nobita sit in the main driver's seat. Anyway, the operation of this submarine is very simple, and the biggest audience is children. The purpose is to let them understand the magic of nature. Very good. Nobita sat in the driving seat. Now let's go and give them a surprise. Chapter 639 Hunting Competition. On the boat, the children have changed into swimsuits and let the sea breeze blow on their bodies. It feels so much easier without a shirt. King Guy leaned on the deck and said comfortably, if even pants. Please stop making such offensive remarks. Yawned as he covered his mouth with one hand to prevent him from continuing. The demon tribe does like the free state of being naked, but now the times have changed, and it is impossible to go back to being primitive. It's alright, children. Aj's voice suddenly came from above. The water depth in this area is enough. Everyone can go to the sea and swim freely. As soon as the voice fell, Fat Tiger jumped in first. He had longed for this blue sea for a long time. I'm coming too. King Guy also jumped from the side of the boat. Yo, the sea, here I come. The huge force set off a lot of waves on the sea, and even the iron side of the boat had a dent. This kid really doesn't know how to take care of things. Yawned as he put his hand on the edge of the gap. Magic, mastery of element. The surrounding iron element decomposed and reorganized in place with his will, becoming exactly the same as before the damage. What happened? Cousin Ammon poked his head out from above. I seemed to hear a strange sound just now. But when he stuck his head out, the side of the ship had been repaired by Yawned as so he didn't notice what happened just now. Seeing that there was nothing wrong here, Ammon was relieved. You guys can go and have fun without worry. If something happens, you must find me immediately. Yeah, don't worry. Yawned as smiled and waved to him, watching Cousin Ammon return to the cabin. Sunir and Shizuka also breathed a sigh of relief, and then accused Yawned as can't you take care of him? What if he really breaks it? Don't worry, I will definitely talk to him about this matter. Yawned as casually dealt with them a few words, and then he turned over and jumped off the side of the ship. TSK, come on. He didn't listen at all. Zairofu looked at Yawned as his back and was very dissatisfied. It was their boat that was broken. Shizuka came over and patted him on the shoulder. It's okay, Yawned will definitely teach that kid well. Seeing Shizuka caring about him so much, Zairofu's resentment disappeared instantly, and he smiled. Yes, I think so too. Then the two of them walked down the stairs next to them slowly. They were not as wild as the previous few people. It feels like that kid has never seen anything. Zairofu didn't forget to mutter in a low voice when he walked into the sea. I don't know how he lived to be that big before. After everyone went to the sea, Ammon walked out of the cab and set up a sun umbrella and a folding chair on the deck. Then he took out a magazine from his backpack. After working so hard for so long, I finally have some free time. Now I just hope that nothing happens to those kids so that I can enjoy my time on the sea. This car is really nice. Cousin Ammon took out a sip of juice. He had been depressed by the heavy work for a long time, and it was a long time since he had seen such a comfortable life. After swimming on the sea for a while, everyone stopped moving forward and stopped swimming away when they saw the speedboat not too far away. Hey, how about our road rules? Ziofu gathered everyone together. The water here is relatively shallow. How can we not bring some seafood? His proposal was agreed by everyone present, and then everyone dived down together and started catching fish here. Ziofu untied a small portable net from his belt to collect the fish caught by everyone. Fat Tiger dived 5 or 6 meters and came to the rocks. According to my experience, there are usually oysters here. Let me look for them. When he turned over to small stones, there were indeed many shells underneath. Fat Tiger smiled and thought to himself, I guessed right. He picked up a large handful of oysters, swam to Sunia's side, and put his trophy into Sunia's net. Shizuka also came back, holding a few crabs in the sea. Here, these are my harvest. Wow, Shizuka, you dare to catch crabs. This is amazing. The two boys cast admiring eyes at Shizuka. And as he also swam over from the side, please make way, my trophy is more aggressive, so as not to hurt you. They looked at Yu and Dazuki and found that this guy was holding an octopus that was twice as big as him, and his tentacles were still wriggling. It is still alive. Student Yuan, my net can't hold such a big thing, you should let it go. Sunia hurriedly stopped Yu and Dazuki. The net he brought with him could only hold prey of the size of a person at most. Why is your net so small? It's really disappointing. Yuan and Dazuki had to let the octopus go. However, when he let go, the octopus not only did not escape, but continued to sink. Seeing this, Dazuki slapped his head. Oh no, I forgot to loosen the knot on his tentacles. In order to prevent it from hurting people after being captured, Yu and Dazuki specially tied all his tentacles into a knot to prevent accidents and reduce the size. When he went to help the octopus loosen its tentacles, Dekishan also came back with a bunch of seafood and stuffed the things into Sunia's net. Seeing so many people coming back with prey, Kingayu pouted in dissatisfaction. Why am I the only one who got nothing? He is a demon who makes a living by hunting, but at this time his performance is not even as good as that of a child. It's so embarrassing. Even the soul-devouring monument next to him couldn't stand it. Catch a big fish for me, or your training plan will double. Yes, I'll go right away. Kingayu was frightened. The old man's training plan was no joke. If it doubled, it would cost him his life. So Kingayu could only swim away. The water here was too shallow, and basically no big fish could be caught. Not long after, he suddenly saw a bluefish that was more than 3 meters long and approaching them rapidly. This fish seems to be a shark recorded by humans, right? Kingayu was relieved instantly. This fish should meet his requirements, right? Then Kingayu faced the challenge, his whole body flashing with lightning. It's decided that it's you. Be our dinner. Seeing Kingayu's action, Yu and Dazuki quickly stretched out his hand, and the surrounding water flow gathered frantically. Water flow split. When the electric current approached, a layer of gap appeared between the water flows on both sides, and the lightning continued to conduct along the ocean without breaking the air barrier, passing by everyone. This kid really doesn't know how to control his own strength. Yu and Dazuki felt a headache. Old man, it seems that you have to change your training plan. Chapter 640 Unlucky Nobita. After a while, Kingayu came to them carrying a shark. Look, how's my trophy? Fat Tiger and the others quickly gave him a thumbs up. Well done. Much better than us. After receiving everyone's praise, he felt that his weight seemed to have become a little lighter, and he was about to float up. Wait, I seem to be really flying? Kingayu looked at the sea that was gradually receding, and said to himself, can I really float if I'm praised too much? It's not you who floated, but I'll let you up. Yu and Dazuki and the old man stood in front of him with angry faces. If it weren't for them just now, there would be absolutely no survivors in this sea area. Ling Feng and I discussed that your next training plan has changed. Let's see how we deal with you when we go back. Ah, why? His body suddenly became heavy, and it can be seen that this incident has dealt a great blow to him. Just when Yu and Dazuki was about to continue preaching, the shark that was thought to have been electrocuted suddenly came back to life and twitched twice on the sea surface. Yu and Dazuki raised his hand. So this shark is not dead yet? Then let me give it one last shot. There was no other way. The shark was too dangerous. They couldn't just take it back and keep it. If something happened on the way, who would be responsible for the injured? No, no, no. Stop hitting. What everyone didn't expect was that the shark suddenly spoke human language. "You," and as he exclaimed, "This fish in the Maldives can actually speak Japanese?" It turns out that it is a high-end fish that is proficient in foreign languages. The others also felt sympathy and persuaded. "Student Yuan, why don't we release this fish?" Even the always domineering fat tiger agreed. "Yes, this fish can speak, and I don't think it's appropriate to treat it as food." Yuan as he also nodded. "If this fish is smart enough, then forget it." Xiao didn't know what to say when he saw this, so he had to remind them. "I say, did you guys really not hear it just now?" "Huh? What did you hear?" The eyes of the others were instantly focused on him. "They really didn't hear it just now. Don't you think the voice just now is familiar? It's obviously the voice of Nobita and Doraemon." The words awakened everyone from their dreams, and everyone quickly put their ears to the fish. "Is it really you? Try to say something." Not long after, a subtle voice came from inside. "Yes, it's us. This machine is broken. Let us out quickly." Seeing this, a black sharp blade appeared in Yuan Daz's hand. The people around him stepped aside very tactfully, as they knew the power of this sword. The sword light left a black mark in the air like a phantom, and every time it passed through the air, it would take away a thin layer of biomass. This was to avoid hurting the people inside, so he chose to cut it layer by layer so carefully. However, he kept cutting the fish meat, which made everyone a little jealous. After he cut a layer of metal wall, Nobita and Doraemon inside were revealed, but they were only half the height of a person. Yuan as he put away his hidden blade, and Fat Tiger and Sunia went over to take them out. "Wake up, are you okay?" "Fortunately, we are fine." After being dragged outside, the two lay on the belly of the fish and gasped for breath to recover their lost strength. After a few seconds, their slightly charred bodies gradually swelled and completely restored their original size. "Make way, I will heal them." Yuan as he stretched out his hand, and the deep blue magic gathered in his hand. Ocean embrace. Because this is the ocean, it is more convenient to use this magic, and the effect will also be far better than usual. And it is not like healing magic that will overdraw your own vitality. It is a magic that uses the power of nature to heal wounds. "Shouldn't you be in Tokyo now? Why are you here in the Maldives? And you turned into a fish?" Seeing that they were concerned about this issue, Doraemon sighed helplessly. "Alas, it's because you guys came out to play without him, so we came here. And this prop is a bionic submarine, which can imitate the form and advantages of fish. We just imitated a shark, and we wanted to scare you." And as he touched the tip of his nose, it seemed that he was the one who caused this incident. "Since you are all here, why not play together?" Xiaofu quickly invited them to ease the embarrassment. Xiaoshan also nodded. "That's right, let's catch fish together, and then solve our own lunch." Everyone cheered together. "Okay, let's do it now. See who catches more fish." After that, everyone was ready to disperse. When everyone thought that this matter would end happily, Nobita suddenly shouted with a serious expression, "Wait a minute." Everyone stopped what they were doing, looking at Nobita so serious, wondering what important things he was going to announce. Nobita touched the back of his head, and his face turned red. "I can't swim. Can anyone give me a life buoy?" Everyone's eyes turned into dead fish eyes at this moment, and the blue fat man took out a life buoy from his pocket and gave it to him in extreme silence. After Nobita put on the life buoy, everyone scattered again to look for their prey, hoping that they could get a good result here. King Guy worked even harder, because the old man gave him a death order. If he didn't get the first place in this competition, he would definitely be beaten to death in the future. Ammon's cousin was reading a magazine in the sun, and suddenly heard Xiaofu's voice from below. "Cousin, come and help me." Ammon's heart suddenly sank. What's going on? Can these children really drown? He ran to the side of the boat in fear, but found Xiaofu dragging several large nets. "There are too many things here, I can't get them." Seeing this scene, he was angry and funny in his heart, but no matter how to say it, worrying in vain is better than really getting into trouble. "Here I come." Cousin Ammon walked down the stairs and dragged up a large net of fish by force. "Where on earth have you been? Why did you catch so many fish?" Xiaofu quickly handed him the second net of fish. "We just met our classmates, and they are holding a fish catching competition." Cousin, hurry up. Those two guys are still catching fish. I have to go over to give them scores. In order to prevent King Gayu from getting the first place, the scumbag Gian as he is now frantically using magic to restrain the nearby fish, waiting for him to get into trouble. When Amon dragged the fifth net up, he was so tired that he lay down on the deck and smoked a cigarette. Are these kids monsters? They are so good at catching. After a while, Ziofu came over with 5 nets of fish. Cousin, there are more here. He had to stomp out the cigarette. Those bastards. Are they planning to kill all the fish in this sea area? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 641, Landlady, There's No Water. In the afternoon, Amon returned to the shore with a large pile of seafood. The smell of fish lingered on the boat for a long time. Amon's cousin pinched his nose and said, "Really? You caught too many fish. We can't eat them all." Gian and Azzy and King Guy were angry and caught all the fish in the surrounding seas. Not even a single fish was left. So there are so many fish here that even the boat can't fit them. They are unwilling to release the fish again, so they can only consider selling them. TSK, who said we can't eat them all? Gian and Azzy was the first to stand up and express his dissatisfaction. If you have the guts, grill the fish for me. I promise that I won't leave any fish meat for you. Brother, you lost just now, so why bother to get angry with these innocent fish? King Gayu laughed beside him. He was very happy that he won against Yu and Azzy today. TSK, if I hadn't considered that you might be exhausted to death, I wouldn't have shown you mercy this time. Dazzy said that he would not lose the battle, no matter what. He must not lose in the verbal battle. But King Guy really believed it. Really? So you have always cared about me. I'm sorry I misunderstood you. No, don't listen to him. Zyashin next to him pulled him away. Let him keep a little innocence. In the evening, Nobita and Doraemon went back first through the anywhere door, while the others waited until the next day to leave. After returning home, everyone picked up their pens and began to review what they had learned during this period. Because the exam will be in early July, and the summer vacation is not long away, they must fight for a good vacation. But at noon, something unexpected happened to everyone. That is, they had no lunch. What did you say, Mom? This is what we eat at noon. Nobita looked at the biscuits and milk on the table, his face full of disbelief. This is not what we should eat at noon. Nobita's mother sighed helplessly, her brows full of sorrow. There is nothing we can do about it. Tokyo has no water now. What? No water? Nobita and Doraemon stood up in surprise. How could such a terrible thing happen? Yes, there is nothing we can do about it. The last time it rained was 4 or 5 months ago, right? There is no water storage. Mom pointed to the milk on the table. I took a lot of effort to get this box of milk. You should be content and drink it with gratitude. Nobita and Doraemon looked at each other and saw helplessness in each other's eyes, and then they could only divide the box of milk into 2 and drink it. Other families were similar. Only Fat Tiger and Sunia's family still had a large amount of beverage reserves, and they were not short of water for the time being. And Fat Tiger's mother also took this opportunity to raise the price of all beverages and made a good profit. Without water, Dekisugi could only seek refuge at Chiyo and Daz's house. Dazzy, do you still have water here? Water? Doesn't every family have this? Why are you looking for me? Chiyo and Dazzy turned on the faucet below, and clear water gushed out. How is it possible? Dekisugi's face was full of disbelief. The whole Tokyo has no water. Why do you have running water here? He originally just wanted to ask Chiyo and Daz's house if there were any drinks or something, but he didn't expect that their water pipes could still produce water. Chiyo and Dazzy bent down and opened the closet, only to see that the water pipes inside were covered with blue lines and were still emitting a faint light. This is the secret of why we still have water. In order to prevent someone from secretly poisoning the water or stopping the water supply, we set up a magic pattern to gather water here. In general, we have never relied on Tokyo's water supply system since the day after we moved here. At this point, Yu and Dazi was a little proud, and this water is cleaner than your tap water, without any bacteria. Because this is a stream of water directly gathered from water molecules in the air, naturally there is no purer water source than it. Seeing this scene, Shan could only spread his hands and admit, well, it seems that magic is indeed much more useful in some aspects. Yes, after all, it is the wisdom passed down by so many people. Yu and Dazi accepted his praise without hesitation. Nobita and Doraemon sighed in the room. I went out once just now, and it seems that there is really no drop of water. Yes, even the bathhouse is closed. Nobita sat in the room feeling lost. If he had known, he would have drunk more water there yesterday. At this time, Nobita suddenly had an idea. Doraemon, you should have some more there, right? The props used on the moon. Are you talking about the random faucet? He shook his head helplessly. That thing was used up on the moon, and was not taken back. And now because the badge of the alien club has disappeared, there is no way to enter the rabbit kingdom, let alone get the faucet. Seeing him say this, Nobita also lost confidence, and lay on the ground like a salted fish. I'm so thirsty. Doraemon lay down with him. I'm so thirsty too. I wonder who can bring me some water? As soon as the voice fell, the drawer in Nobita's room suddenly opened, and a round head popped out of the drawer. Brother, I'm here to see you. Doraemon jumped out of the time machine. These are the props you asked me to buy for you last time. She threw a lot of things to Doraemon, and handed him a bag of dorayaki. This is a gift that Shizuka asked me to give you. You must eat it well. Looking at his favorite dorayaki, Doraemon could not muster the slightest interest, and pushed it aside indifferently. After all, his mouth was so dry that it was about to crack. How could he be in the mood to eat such dry dorayaki? Oh my god. Brother doesn't like dorayaki anymore? Doraemon was frightened by this scene. Is brother really broken down? No, you have to go to the future to have a look. After that, Doremi pulled Doraemon and planned to forcibly take him back to the future for a physical examination. Don't worry, I'm fine. Doraemon broke free from his sister's hand. It's just that I'm too thirsty now, and I'm not in the mood to eat. As soon as he finished speaking, Nobita next to him rushed over and tried to take away the dorayaki, but Doraemon's legs were not as short as he thought. Doraemon kicked Nobita in the side with lightning speed and successfully protected his dorayaki. Doremi next to him was very happy to see this scene. It seemed that her brother had not changed, so there was no need to worry about them. Doraemon, I remember you must have some there, right? I used up my random faucet on the moon before. Doraemon nodded and took out the faucet from her pocket. Then let's relive the feeling of having water to drink. Chapter 642 Who would set fire in the city? Doraemon casually installed a faucet on the wall, then took out a water cup, turned on the faucet, filled it with water, and handed it to Nobita. He took the water cup away and drank it up. He hadn't drunk water for a whole day. Haha, don't worry. Doraemon took out another faucet. I have many faucets here, which can release water of various flavors. She took out an orange faucet from her pocket, filled it with orange drink, and handed it to her brother Doraemon. Thank you, sister. The blue fat man took the juice, and drank it all, and put down the water cup with satisfaction. Ah, the taste of orange juice is really good. However, he looked at Doraemon with doubts. When will this new prop be produced in the future? Wasn't there only tap water before? When you were away, the company invested a lot of money in research and development, so you didn't know. Doraemon smiled and took out more faucets. I have many here, we can taste them slowly. After that, Doraemon took out many different faucets and let the two of them drink juice to their heart's content. After they were all satisfied, Nobita covered his stomach and sighed. I didn't expect drinking water could be so happy. By the way, since the whole town is thirsty now, why not share these taps? For Nobita's suggestion, the people present agreed. That's right. Let's go and send these taps out now. Nobita brought the bamboo dragonfly to the home of Yu and Dazi, who was closest to their home, and handed them a golden tap. Hey, Nobita, you actually gave us gifts? He accepted the gift. Is this prop an arbitrary tap? Yes, but this is an upgraded version. It is not an ordinary arbitrary tap. It can release a variety of drinks. Oh, is it so magical? Gian and Dazi immediately became interested. Tell me what kind of drinks this tap has. Nobita shook his head and flew directly into the sky. I don't know the details, but it must be drinkable. I have a lot of things to do now, so try it yourself. Seeing his back leaving, Yu and as he smiled, turned back to the room and planned to share it with them. Yinkei, Kingayu, Dakshin just came over and gave me a good thing. Do you want to come and see it? Kingayu and Dekishin surrounded him, looking at the faucet curiously. What is this prop? He used it last time on the moon. After installing it, it can release tap water, but this thing seems a little different. Let's try it. And as he looked around and walked into the kitchen, it seems that this is the most suitable place to install the faucet in the house. If it is installed in other places, it will look a bit abrupt from the outside, affecting the overall beauty. Then Kingayu came over with a cup and stood beside Yu and Dazi with expectation, wanting to taste it. Then old man Ling suddenly appeared. Go and play. I told you not to drink this water. That is not good for your health. Yes. He walked back dejectedly with the cup, which made Zayashi feel a little bit sorry. Finally, he couldn't help but plead with the old man. It's okay to give him a little drink, right? I agree with that. As he spoke, Yu and Dazi handed a cup filled with a strange drink to Kingayu who was leaving. Great. Thank you, brother. He drank the drink in one gulp without caring about the old man's obstruction. Then he began to cough violently. Ahem. Why does this thing feel a bit spicy in my throat? Huh. The two also noticed that something was wrong, walked over and picked up the cup in Kingayu's hand and sniffed it. Then Shumashin took the cup away with a look of disgust. Nobita, he must be so busy that he actually gave us the tap of wine. Don't rush to throw it away. I think the quality of this wine should be quite good, right? Yu and Dazi grabbed the cup back with his mental power. This wine is not only of high purity, but also has a mellow aroma, restrained and long-lasting. It is definitely a rare delicacy. After saying that, he ran over to get himself a glass of light golden wine, drank it all in one breath in front of the two of them, and sighed with satisfaction. What a good wine. Seeing this guy so indulgent, Chumashin walked over and dragged Yu and Dazi back to the bedroom. Really, I must find Dakshin to have a good argument. And Kingayu's face gradually turned red. Strange. What should I do now? It seems that I should cook. Yes, cook. Thinking of this, he staggered to the gas stove next to him, turned on the fire, and prepared to cook. Oh, it's just a glass of wine. Is it that serious? After being dragged away by Chumashin, he did not regret it at all, and even wanted to have another glass. Zyrozy looked at him unhappily, and made a lazy cry. Meow, but the two people present ignored him, and Zyrozy had to go to the sun by himself. Forget it, let's review quickly now. Zyadishan put a bunch of review questions in front of him. Although we don't really need to do these questions, it's better to be careful in order to get full marks. He put some homework questions in front of Yu and Dazi. These are your consolidation exercises. Do them quickly. Yu and Dazi didn't rush to do his homework, but looked at the sunny sky. Speaking of which, why hasn't it rained for so long? It's a bit unscientific. Hearing this question, Zyadishan also fell into deep thought. It hasn't rained for so long. It may be because the water vapor condensed in the air and never rose, so it couldn't form cumulonimbus clouds. Oh, I didn't expect you to know this. Yu and Dazi yawned beside him. This is geography knowledge. But he didn't pay attention to this subject at the beginning, so he was not very clear about this aspect. Then Yu and Dazi asked him again, then do you know how to make the water vaporize and make it rain in Tokyo? This question doesn't seem difficult. I remember seeing it in a book. Dekishan sat down and began to think about this question. Oh, I remember it. He suddenly had an idea. The simplest way is to create a big fire. As long as the range is large enough, the water vapor can rise into the air. Yu and Dazi chuckled. Don't be funny. How could there be a big fire here? Who would set a fire here? That's right. I won't anyway. Zyadishan touched his head. Indeed, few people would choose to create a fire in the city. While they were chatting, Yu and Dazi suddenly found that the magic pattern he set up at home for defense was invalid. What's going on? He stood up immediately. Did an enemy invade my house? Get ready for battle. As soon as the voice fell, before Yu and Dazi dispersed his mental power, a huge roar suddenly came from below. No, leave this house quickly. Dashi immediately pulled Zyashin up and rushed out of the house together. The two figures just flew out of the window, and the whole house exploded from below, and endless flames rose from below, as if mocking what they had just said. Chapter 643, End of 4th grade. What did you say? Yu and Dashi stood in the rain and rolled up his sleeves, looking at King Gayu in front of him. If you have the guts, say it again. I'll beat you to death today. King Gayu standing in front of him lowered her head without saying a word, hating the Nobita who gave them the faucet. He was a little confused after drinking a glass of wine before, so he went to the kitchen to cook and turned on the gas valve. The flame was burning well, but when he added water, his hand shook accidentally and extinguished the flame under the pot. He looked at the gas stove in front of him, and based on his previous experience in cooking, he quickly thought of a way. This flame is extinguished. Is it just a matter of electricity? Because the gas stove can be ignited by stimulating a weak electric current in many cases, he planned to give this gas stove a try. But just when he was about to start working, he found that the magic patterns around him prevented his demonic power from taking effect. TSK, what a useless thing. It's useless when it should be used. King Gayu walked to a hidden node next to him in anger and said, let me destroy this formation. Because King Gayu was the person who Yu and Dashi tacitly agreed to have access to the core of the formation, the entire formation did not stop him at all. In this way, the magic formation, that originally required a great deal of effort from a 4th level wizard to destroy, was broken from the inside by his own people. So Yu and Dashi did not receive any signs when the magic formation was completely destroyed, which was also what scared him the most. Then King Gayu used his lightning to ignite the gas stove and all the gas in the room. What made Yu and Dashi even more upset was that the magic materials he had spent a lot of effort to collect for a period of time were also ignited in this disaster. This also caused the range of the flames to be about 5 times larger than that of ordinary flames, and the surrounding trees and other things were integrated into the flames. However, the only good news is that there were no casualties in this disaster, but it only caused a large amount of economic losses to some residents. Of course, as long as it can be solved with money, it is not a problem for him now. 10 million yen was given to each of the 5 families who suffered damage nearby as compensation, and the matter was considered over. Do you have anything else to say now? Yu and Dashi grabbed his ear, his lungs about to explode. You can't blame me for this. King Gayu looked at him aggrievedly. If you hadn't given me drinks casually, would I have done that? Hearing this, Yu and Dashi was silent for a while. Although what he said this time was very irritating, it was indeed very reasonable. And brother, look, it's finally raining again after so long. Can't you be a little happy? After hearing this, 1,000 alpacas ran through his heart. He was just saying who would start a big fire for no reason, but in the blink of an eye, his house was blown up. How could he not be angry? Forget it. Considering that you did this after drinking, I will let you go today. In the end, Yu and Dashi decided to let him go once. Although it caused a lot of economic losses, this matter can only be swallowed with broken teeth. After all, it is still something that can be solved with money, and you can only be thankful that no one died just now. Zyadishan looked at him and said, since your house is gone, where are you going to rest tonight? Yu and Dashi glanced at him. Although the house was gone, he could still use time magic to restore this area. But he felt that he had moved out for so long and his anger had subsided. It seemed that going back now was also a very good choice, and the opportunity was also suitable. As long as he didn't say why the house exploded, it wouldn't be embarrassing for him to tell others. Under the current situation, we can only go to your house. After making up his mind, Yu and Dashi grabbed King Gayu by the back of the neck and took him to Demishan's house. In the next few days, Yu and Dashi rearranged Demishan's house inside and out, making it more solid than the previous house. Nobita, who knew that he had caused trouble from Demishan, was also very tactful and didn't provoke them. In this way, the two families lived in peace until the end of the semester. Students, the 4th grade career is completely over. The teacher stood on the podium and began to distribute the test report cards. In this year, we have experienced a lot of things. Many classmates have come and gone. The teacher's eyes were filled with expectations. Now we will soon enter the 5th grade. In the new year, I hope everyone can have more gains. and in the next semester, our study time will be adjusted. I hope everyone can accept it. Most of the students present wailed. Will the study time increase in the future? It's already from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Alas. The teacher ignored their wailing and picked up a piece of paper. Okay, now is not the time to talk about that. Next is our holiday homework. First, review questions. The holiday homework will be distributed to you by Demischen. Demischen stood up in response, holding a pile of notebooks in his hand, and handed the homework books to them one by one, and everyone got more than one homework book. Okay, now it's our second assignment, which is everyone's free observation diary. I believe everyone knows the rules. Please find a real object to observe, and the time length must be at least more than 10 days. Don't slack off. After saying that, the teacher raised his hands and said, in the next period of time, please celebrate your vacation to your heart's content. The students who had been waiting for a long time immediately carried their school bags and rushed out of the classroom. Great. We are finally on vacation. Chumashin also walked to Yu and Daz's side. Let's go. Let's plan how to play this summer vacation, and we must travel around the world. TSK, you have even been to alien planets, and you still care about these? Yu and Dazzy also carried his school bag and began to seriously think about the summer vacation plan. I have indeed been to alien planets, but I have not seen many of the scenery on Earth. How can I give up so easily? Hearing his words, Yu and Dazzy had to admit that Chumashin's words this time really made sense. When they traveled around the world before, most of the time they just looked around casually and did not appreciate the cultural landscapes and local delicacies. Oh, right. Chumashin suddenly looked at Yu and Dazzy happily. Let's take some time to go to the Bermuda Triangle. I believe it will be very interesting there. Hearing this, Yu and Dazzy was silent for a while. Bermuda Triangle? He remembered that there seemed to be a movie here. Thinking of this, he nodded and agreed. Sure, I also want to see what is in that sea area. Yu and Dazzy took out a small notebook and recorded this matter in his summer vacation plan. Okay, I've noted it down. He put the notebook back into his cloak, but before that, we have to go to Hawaii first. After all, I have promised Nobita and the others that I would take them to Hawaii. If something unexpected really happens, at least I have to finish what I promised to others first. Chapter 644. Holiday begins. After school, Fat Tiger approached Nobita. Nobita, how about we play island games together tomorrow? Pirate game. Sure. Nobita was extremely happy to hear that Fat Tiger was willing to play with him. Yu and Dazzy approached Shizuka. What are your plans for this holiday? Do you want to go to Hawaii together? Hearing that he was invited to go out and play, Shizuka shook his head. Forget it. I have to accumulate enough dark energy during this holiday. Because I don't know why, my dark energy seems to have stopped growing recently. My intuition tells me that I must find a strong enough energy source to have a chance of breakthrough. Yu and Dazzy persuaded him a few more times, but Shizuka's will was extremely firm, so he had to be removed from the list for this plan. In addition, Lizanayu and his friends also had their own compulsory courses, and only Yu and Dazzy and his friends were so free. After returning home, Yu and Dazzy sighed a little dejectedly. Really, why is everyone's summer vacation so fulfilling? Why bother? Don't we have a very fulfilling summer vacation too? Dekisugi sat next to him with a pile of homework books in his hand. Speaking of which, how do you plan to contact foreign hotels? Those waiters won't believe what a kid like you say, right? This is easy. Yu and Dazzy also took out his homework book. Just go find Kodomi. He has plenty of ways. As they talked, the two finished all the homework for the holiday, and the time they spent was reduced compared to before. Kingayu came up with tea and snacks. Since returning to this home, he has taken care of most of the housework and taking care of Ziozi. But now Ziozi dislikes him even more. After all, it was this guy who blew up his safe nest last time. Brother, have you made your holiday plans? He picked up a piece of senbei and took a bite. I really want to see the scenery of Hawaii. And as he finished the snacks and tea, wiped his mouth with satisfaction. Don't worry, I'll call Kodomi right away. Diki looked at his portion of senbei and pushed it in front of Kingayu. You can eat this one. Great, thank you brother. Kingayu was not polite and ate up the snacks at a speed comparable to Yu and Dazi. Yu and Dazi had already walked downstairs, picked up the phone, and waited for the other party to answer while tapping his feet. Hello, this is Kodama Yoshio. The other party's voice sounded weak. Report anything quickly. If it's not important, just tell Tanaka directly. Okay, just tell me Tanaka's phone number. Yu and Dazi agreed immediately. Anyway, the other party didn't need to ask about this matter personally, but Dazi only knew him. The other party seemed to wake up all of a sudden. So it's on Miyagi. Are you here to see me about that road of no return? I've emphasized to you several times that I'm a magician, not an onmyaji. Wait, what did you just say? What road of no return? Yu and Dazi became alert instantly. Could it be that some supernatural event happened in a place he didn't know about? Ahem. So you don't know yet? Let me tell you. Kodama Yoshio cleared his throat and told the story. Tokyo has never been peaceful, but many things happened in the dark until the end of May, when several people died together on the street. Everyone thought it was just an ordinary homicide, but what they didn't expect was that someone witnessed them walking into an alley, and this alley didn't exist on the map before. Later, someone organized an investigation into the matter, and when the alley reappeared, they took a large group of people in to find out. But no matter whether the people who went in were police officers or onmyaji, they all died in that alley in the end, and the cause of death was all brain death. Moreover, the bodies in that alley would dissipate when exposed to strong light, which makes people feel extremely weird. Now the Public Security Bureau is constantly blocking the news. Now the director there is so busy that his hairline is about to reach the back of his head. Speaking of this, Kodama Yoshio couldn't help but curl the corners of his mouth. Now whenever he thinks of the director's appearance yesterday, he still can't help laughing. Yu and Dazi stroked his chin and thought, I will pay attention to this matter if I have time, but I'm not looking for you today for this matter. I want to go to Hawaii here. Please help me book 7 tickets and make reservations for the hotel there. You want to go to Hawaii, right? No problem. I will ask my assistant to arrange it for you right away. Not long after, a reply came from the other side. It is the peak tourist season recently. We have tried many ways to get hotel accommodation 10 days later. What do you think? Yu and Dazi counted on his fingers. 10 days? That is to say, July 15th. Those days should be fine. Okay, let's do it on this day. After finalizing, Yu and Dazi put down the phone, returned to the room, and told Kingayu and the others the good news. I have decided here, I will go out on the 15th. Yu and Dazi yawned. You two should be fine, right? Zayanishin nodded to show that he had no objection. Anyway, he has not had any serious work during this period, so it is absolutely no problem to go out and play. As for whether to report to his parents, he will tell his parents at that time, so that they don't have to worry. 10 days later, Kingayu did not agree directly, but looked at the soul-devouring monument next to him. Master Zuling, can the training plan be adjusted? This time, the soul-devouring monument agreed very straightforwardly. No problem. There is definitely enough time. Don't worry. That's good. I'll go inform the others. Yu and Dazi yawned again and staggered out the door. He wanted to tell the other people the good news, and at the same time, he had to tell others about the road of no return. If those people accidentally entered the road of no return while he was away, then their lives would definitely be lost. As for worrying about the opponent's strength, there is no need to worry about this, because with his current strength as a 4th level magician, basically there are few people in this world who can be his opponent. And if the ghost is really strong, is it necessary to hide and hide all day long? Not long after, Yu and Dazi returned to the room. I have taken care of it here, and no one else has any objection. That's good. I thought some people would not go. Yu and Dazi smiled and thought to himself, I also want to see who dares not to go. If they want me to break the promise, do they still want to live? As mentioned before, people like them cannot make promises casually, and they must fulfill their promises, otherwise they will be severely punished. Since no one raised any objections when he talked about it before, he must bring these people over intact now, otherwise he will be in trouble. Then the last question, what kind of observation diary do you plan to make? Chumashin threw a brand new scroll to him and asked him to find a way to write the topic he was interested in. Chapter 645 photo. The next morning, Yu and Dazi went out to the market to buy some things for lunch. Not long after he went out, he saw Nobita running past him with excitement. Fat Tiger, I want to be the captain of a pirate ship. When he ran past Yu and Dazi, he could hear Nobita's mother's voice faintly. This kid only knows how to play. In fact, Yu and Dazi completely agreed with the fact that children like to play. If a child doesn't play, what time will he have to play in the future? However, Nobita was holding an inflatable sword and said it was a pirate machete, which did look a little too full of childishness. Looking at Nobita's back, Yu and Dazi suddenly became interested. Forget it, it's not far away anyway, why not go and take a look? At this time, Sunia was holding a photo album. How about it? This is the photo of me diving last year. Sunia pointed at himself in the sea. He was wearing a tight leather jacket and carrying an oxygen cylinder on his back. Not bad. Fat Tiger poked Sunia with his elbow. This suit is better than the diving suit that someone picked us up last time. Hearing Fat Tiger's praise, Sunia couldn't help but blush. It's not what you think. This suit is rented, so we can use such a good thing. That's also good. At least it's not like us. We don't even have the opportunity to rent it. Fat Tiger's tone was a little envious. Sunia was even happier in his heart. Yes, he just liked to hear others envy him. Shizuka also arrived at the battlefield at this time. What are you two talking about? You look very happy. Shizuka, you are here too? Come and see it together. Sunia jumped down from the concrete pillar and showed him the album in his hand. This is the photo we took in Palor Island last year. How about it? Sunia pointed to a large flatfish and said, and here, you can interact with manta rays. Sunia shared his experience with everyone through the album. The eyes of the two were slightly envious. They didn't have such an opportunity. Fat Tiger looked at him and asked him, come to think of it, you actually have a cousin named Palorfu. What a strange name. Not Palorfu, I mean Palor Island. Sunia corrected his pronunciation and was impressed by his nerves that could even misunderstand what he said. But he soon let it go and shook his bangs casually. Forget it, even if I tell you, you won't understand. After all, you are almost in the 5th grade of elementary school, but you are still playing the kind of games I played when I was in kindergarten. No wonder you are always so naive. Fat Tiger just told him that he wanted to play the pirate game with Nobita. Now talking about this, he suddenly felt ashamed. Ah, really? Shizuka looked at Fat Tiger with a little surprise in her eyes. I didn't expect you to like this kind of game at this age. Being looked at by Shizuka in this way, Fat Tiger suddenly felt uncomfortable all over, and even his ears turned red. It's not what you think. Fat Tiger twisted his body a little uneasily, and his mind was working fast to find an excuse. Oh, that's right. It was Nobita who said he wanted to play. He decided to throw the blame on Nobita. It was because he pestered me that I had to agree to play with him. As soon as he finished speaking, Nobita arrived at the battlefield and exposed Fat Tiger. Fat Tiger, I'm here to play the pirate game with you. You said yesterday that you really wanted to play this game, and I searched for this prop for a long time before I found it. After saying that, Nobita proudly waved his inflatable plastic sword and looked at Fat Tiger with expectation. Shizuka covered her mouth and laughed secretly, and Sunia was not much better. He didn't expect that Fat Tiger's lie would be exposed so quickly. Really, you're finally here. Fat Tiger saw that the situation was not good and immediately changed the subject. By the way, Sunia, how is the cousin named Palayufu you mentioned before? Fat Tiger's skill in changing the subject was really poor, and the gap between the surrounding transitions was too large, so it would make people feel a little stiff. However, Sunia was very tactful and answered, that's Palor, a small island in the sea. The scenery is very beautiful. Oh, really? Do you have any photos of that place? I want to see more. Fat Tiger immediately came to Sunia. Sunia flipped through the photo album helplessly. In fact, he also wanted to laugh at Fat Tiger more, so as to vent his long accumulated resentment. but he knew very well that if he pressed too hard on one thing, it might make Fat Tiger angry and embarrassed, and then they would be in trouble. Not long after, Sunia pointed to a photo of the sea and the sky and said, "Look, this is the photo taken on the shore before. Wow, it's really beautiful. It feels like the whole ocean and the sky are connected together." Shizuka was attracted by the photo in an instant. Fat Tiger also nodded in agreement. "That's right, I also want to go to such a place to take a look." But Nobita, who had been standing next to them, felt very uncomfortable and walked up to them. "What are you looking at? Can I take a look too?" Fat Tiger and Sunia were unmoved, and Shizuka also said that she could not help because the space here could only accommodate the three of them, and there was no more space. And behind them was a concrete pipe, and if people stood on it, their center of gravity would be unstable and there would be certain danger. So Nobita and Sunia could only stand face to face. From Nobita's point of view, he could only see the cover of the album at most. "Sunia, can you let me take a look?" Nobita finally couldn't resist his curiosity. "Just take a look. I promise not to touch the album." Unconsciously, his words were already filled with pleading. The feeling of being collectively excluded by his classmates was really uncomfortable. "Hey, what are you doing?" Yu and Daisy finally arrived at the battlefield. "Didn't Nobita say he wanted to play the pirate game? Why don't I see you playing it?" Sunia quickly explained. "Nothing, because Fat Tiger suddenly became interested in these photos, so we are looking at the photos." "Really? You don't mind if I join you?" Yu and Daisy walked up to him, intending to share his fun with Sunia. "Of course." Sunia quickly turned around to make the space behind him wider so that more people could fit in. "Look, this is the ancient ruins that my cousin took when he was alone in the Aegean Sea. Isn't it spectacular?" Yu and Daisy looked at the stone buildings on the seabed and felt a little curious. Who built the buildings with these stones? If it was on the shore, this question would be very simple, but on the seabed, the nature is completely different. "How would I know?" Sunia shook his head and said half jokingly, "Maybe there was a brilliant and great civilization on the seabed before." Chapter 646, Imaginary Surface Pump. Although it was just a joke, Yu and Daisy took it seriously, because in the world of Doraemon, there is really a civilization under the sea. The local civilization of Gian City, which still exists today, has come from an alien to a mermaid civilization, which are all plots in big movies. Is it time to go on another adventure so soon? Yu and Daisy touched his chin and thought, it's not impossible. After all, it's been a few months since the last adventure. You seem to be very interested in these things. Why don't you go to my house to see more photos? Ziofu smiled and invited everyone. In fact, there are more photos of the ruins stored in my house. Fat Tiger and the others immediately nodded and agreed. No problem. How about we go now? Okay, let's go. My cousin took a video of the ruins, which is much more vivid than the photo. Ziofu said as he led everyone to his home. He is best at showing off photos and equipment. I won't go. After all, I still have to buy vegetables and make lunch. Yu and Daisy waved to them and left first. Although he was interested in the ruins on the seabed, it was only a little bit. He was well informed and was too lazy to bother about such a small matter. The role of a person who was full of desire to explore such ancient ruins was suitable for Izuku, not him. Nobita looked at the people who were about to leave in a blink of an eye and hurriedly followed Sunia. Let's go together. Huh. So you are coming too, Nobita? Sunia turned around and looked at him with a half smile, which made Nobita feel uncomfortable. I thought you were busy playing the pirate game now, so you didn't have time to play with us, right, Fat Tiger? Invisibly, Sunia insulted him again. Fat Tiger touched his head embarrassedly. Why are you talking about something else? However, it was impossible for Fat Tiger to quarrel with Sunia at this time. After all, he would go to his house later, so he could only. It was Fat Tiger who asked me to come out to play the pirate game. Nobita said unconvincedly. Why didn't you? Before he finished speaking, a hand knocked on his head. Oh, how could I play such a childish pirate game? Seeing Fat Tiger's move, Sunia breathed a sigh of relief. If Nobita continued to talk like this, both he and Fat Tiger would be embarrassed. Nobita, you are so naive. Fat Tiger approached him and hugged his neck. How could I, Fat Tiger, play such a childish pirate game? Then he snatched the inflatable sword from Nobita's hand, and this thing, even kindergarten children don't play with this kind of soft toy, right? I did buy this when I was in kindergarten. Nobita looked at the inflatable sword with a look of nostalgia in his eyes. Fat Tiger at that time was completely different from now. He was still a very enthusiastic child. How did he become like this now? Sunia and Shizuka also laughed. It's really the style of children. Nobita, you haven't changed at all. Ah, why are you like this? Even Shizuka, you are like this? Nobita saw them like this and suddenly felt that his world was grey. Hey, what is this? Fat Tiger suddenly saw the air valve on the inflatable sword and stretched out his hand to pull it off. Suddenly, the sword quickly shrank down. Fat Tiger was stunned for a moment. Is this sword still inflatable? He originally thought that there was some kind of filling inside, but it turned out to be something lower than he thought. Hey, Nobita, I'll give this sword back to you. Fat Tiger saw that he had played with it for a while, so he threw the balloon into the sky. Ah, my balloon. Nobita jumped to try to catch the balloon. If it floated far away, it would be difficult to find it. Although it is not a very valuable thing, it has a special meaning to him. If possible, he hopes to keep this toy with him forever. Fat Tiger clapped his hands in satisfaction. Okay, let's go to Sunia's house now. Shizuka looked at Nobita who was chasing the balloon with some concern. Is it really okay to just leave him here like this? Sunia didn't care at all. It's okay. If he really wants to come, he will follow by himself. Yeah. After all, Nobita will be in the 5th grade soon. He will definitely not get lost on the road again. Shizuka thought about it and felt that what he said was true. So she waved to Nobita. Then Nobita, we will go first. Ah, my balloon. In the end, Nobita fell to the ground helplessly, and the blue balloon slowly floated in front of him. Listening to the faint laughter in the distance, Nobita's face suddenly turned red to the extreme. It's so hateful. He stood up all of a sudden, picked up the balloon, and put it in his pocket, and shouted to the sky, Doraemon. In the sky, the blue fat man who came back from buying vegetables was startled by the roar. Why was Nobita bullied again? Really, it's always like this. Doraemon landed from the sky helplessly. What on earth happened here in the open space just now? Woo woo, woo woo woo, woo woo, woo woo. Nobita hugged him and cried while talking about what happened just now, and Doraemon nodded frequently and occasionally hummed. Amidst a lot of sobs that outsiders couldn't understand at all, Doraemon understood the whole story. I know, it's okay. He picked up the basket on the ground. After we go back, we will also take a few photos to make them envious. After getting Doraemon's assurance, Nobita burst into laughter. Thank you so much, Doraemon. The two held hands and returned home. After handing the basket to their mother, they went to the 2nd floor and began to plot how to take underwater diving photos. Because we are going to the beach soon, we won't go into the sea this time. He reached into his pocket, and I just happened to be testing this prop. Not long after, Doraemon took out a prop that looked like a human head. Fictional water surface simulator water pump. As long as we have this thing, we can dive in this town. How about it? Are you surprised? Nobita looked at this strange prop with disbelief on his face. This thing can allow us to dive here? Don't joke. Doraemon smiled and handed him a pair of glasses. That's because you haven't put it on yet. Take it and put it on. Really? Nobita put on the brown glasses doubtfully, and then he was horrified to find that the floor of his house had been flooded by the water gushing out of this machine at some point. Chapter 647 Advanced Preparation. Doraemon, it's bad. Come and help me. HMM. Doraemon, what are you doing? Nobita originally wanted him to help him clean up the water in the house, but he found that the culprit who caused the house to be flooded was Doraemon. Because now he is standing next to the water pump he took out before, and his hand is still operating the water pump to make it keep pumping water. Doraemon, have you had enough of making trouble? Nobita stood up angrily. We will definitely be scolded by our mother later. Looking at Nobita's angry face, Doraemon smiled. It's okay. If you don't believe it, take off your glasses and see if there is water in the house. Seeing him so calm, Nobita gradually calmed down. He believed that Doraemon would not do such a thing that would harm others and benefit himself. So Nobita took off his glasses, and the water that was about to cover his knees disappeared without a trace in an instant. No way. The water disappeared. Nobita touched his feet doubtfully, and there was no trace of water on them. Doraemon, what kind of prop is this? Now, no matter how dumb he is, he knows that the water just now is the effect of Doraemon's prop. You finally got it. The blue fat man pointed at the water pump. This is a prop developed by future scientists to study the impact of rising sea levels in the future. The seawater you just saw is the seawater in the virtual space, pumped out by this virtual water surface simulator pump. Then he pointed at the brown lenses in Nobita's hand. This prop is virtual tactile glasses. Only people wearing it can see the pumped seawater. After listening to Doraemon's explanation, Nobita put on the glasses again, and the water really came back, and the water level was higher than before. Nobita understood immediately. You want me to use this prop to create the feeling of diving in the town? That's right, Nobita. As long as the water pumped out by this pump is enough, we can shoot the feeling of the seabed even here. Thinking of this, Nobita immediately ran to Doraemon and took over the handle of the pump. Then let me do it. Nobita shook the pump up and down while asking him, speaking of which, if we want to store enough seawater, how long will it take? Half an hour. Hearing Nobita's prediction, Doraemon immediately changed to a pair of dead fish eyes. Haha, you really think well. However, Doraemon soon discovered his shortcomings, and the computer immediately started to work and replaced it with a warm look. Let me calculate. Doraemon took out an old pocket watch and began to calculate the time. If we follow this progress, it will probably be midnight. What? Midnight? Nobita was so scared that he threw away the handle. If he kept shaking it until midnight, it would be a death sentence. But he soon discovered one thing. When he took his hand away, the water from the pump was still pouring out. Seeing that the matter was exposed, Doraemon no longer hid it from him. Actually, this water pump is automatic. Damn it, why didn't you tell me earlier? Nobita was so angry that he slammed the floor hard. If that's the case, didn't he just act like a fool for several minutes, playing with a rocking toy that moves by itself? Okay, don't worry about these details. Doraemon walked to his side. We still have other preparations to make now. Anything else to prepare? Nobita took the bamboo dragonfly that Doraemon handed to him, and the two flew out of the window together and rushed to the open space. When Doraemon saw the cement pipe, he called Nobita to prepare to land. Okay, here it is. The two landed on the cement pipe, and Doraemon took out a box of snacks, special feed that marine creatures love the most. Nobita, take this box of feed and stick them anywhere nearby, but you'd better remember where they are. Taking the feed given to him by Doraemon, Nobita saw a bunch of pink balls inside, which looked quite appetizing. I wonder how it tastes. Doraemon, can I have a taste? Nobita looked at the pink ball and said, I always think that this thing seems to be delicious. Doraemon picked up a feed and threw it on the ground. What are you thinking? There are a lot of animal meat in it, which will cause diarrhea. Ah, really? Hearing him say this, Nobita had to give up his idea and honestly stick the feed on the cement pipe. Doraemon also stuck a lot of feed on the nearby walls and trees. Not long after, a strange fragrance emanated from here. Okay, now the preliminary preparations have been completed, and the next thing is this, the activity fishing pond. Doraemon conjured up a pink carpet and spread it flat on the ground. There were many buttons and a display screen on both sides of the carpet that Nobita couldn't understand. Now let me adjust the scale, Doraemon said while pressing the start button. Suddenly, the surface of the pink carpet suddenly changed into the shape of the Earth's surface, and now it was time to set the coordinates. Doraemon kept adjusting the two turntables, and the scenery on the carpet kept changing, and finally stopped in the Pacific Ocean. Looking at the changing sea level, Nobita couldn't help but ask, Doraemon, are there really fish in this blanket? As soon as he finished speaking, a small fish suddenly came out of the blanket, splashing water on Nobita and Doraemon, making them close their eyes. When the small fish returned to the surface of the water, Doraemon explained, although it was changed by the blanket, it is indeed connected to the ocean. Yeah, I already know. After what happened just now, Nobita has accepted this setting. Okay, the next thing is the last thing, virtual seawater with gas. Doraemon took out the last prop needed this time. As long as the fish come into contact with this gas, they can live in the virtual seawater. It works for all fish. As he spoke, Doraemon wanted to throw the prop into the sea, but he suddenly stopped. It's a close call. I almost forgot about it. Then Doraemon picked up the virtual seawater with gas and sprayed it on the special feed nearby, and all the feed disappeared. Because other people will see so many strange things here and might clean it up, so it's better to take a layer of insurance. After saying that, Doraemon threw the gas into the sea. Next, we just have to wait for the fish to come into contact with the gas. By the way, don't wear glasses during this time, otherwise the fish will see the virtual seawater in advance and run to the land. Understand? Doraemon kept reminding Nobita as he walked, while he was imagining how to spend the night. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 648 Parallel Fantasy Space. After buying vegetables and returning home, and as he was cooking lunch at home, when he suddenly found that the floor of his house was soaked by water. Strange, did I not turn off the water when I washed the vegetables? He walked to the sink with a puzzled look on his face. I clearly turned it off. Why is there still water on the floor? Ziashin, who was next to him, saw him suddenly talking to himself here, walked over and patted his shoulder. Are you okay? How can I be okay? The floor of my house has been flooded. How can we live here? We have to clean the room. And as he said, while mobilizing his magic power to cast the appropriate magic, elemental magic, water element manipulation. After a while, he found that the water flow around him did not decrease at all, and the elemental magic he cast was actually useless. And Chumashin and Kingayu next to him looked at him with a look of, are you crazy? Strange, why is my magic not working? He shook his hand tentatively, just like shaking a mobile phone when it crashes. But he soon found that what he did was useless and only made them laugh. Forget it, Dazi-kun. You must be too tired. Ziashin and Kingayu jointly pushed him out of the kitchen. You can rest today. Leave the rest to us. Being kicked out inexplicably, and as he looked at his hands, why do they say I'm too tired? And why did my magic not work on water just now? I need to explore this question carefully. Is my magic power not working? The voice of the soul-devouring monument suddenly sounded. This water feels a bit strange to me. Why don't you try the fireball spell first? Hearing his suggestion, and as he walked out of the yard first, and then the flame on his hand quietly fell into the water. But the magical thing is that the flame was not extinguished by the water, but melted into the water, burning quietly at the bottom of the water until the magic power inside was exhausted. Sure enough, there is something wrong with this water. Just now you found out that the floor was flooded because you saw the water, not because you felt the water under your feet. And Dazi agreed after hearing this. That's right, I'll follow the direction of the water and go to the source to see. They walked and observed the surroundings, and the more they walked, the more familiar they felt. This direction. Isn't it Nobita's house? After thinking about it, the only people in the whole town who could do such a thing were Nobita's weird family. Let's go and see. The dark star cloak suddenly appeared on him. What kind of trouble is this kid Nobita going to make today? Not long after, and Dazi walked to the door of Nobita's house, and water continued to flow out of their house. It's him. He looked at the water flow, and a familiar feeling surged in his heart. Could it really be that prop? In the invisible state of the dark star cloak, and Dazi easily entered the second floor, and a water pump was working tirelessly. Well, I guessed right. He sighed helplessly. It is that thing, and the peaceful days are gone again. Oh. Do you know the origin of this prop? The soul-devouring monument suddenly became interested. Could it be that this prop will connect to the fragments of the world? Dazi didn't say much to him, and directly told the soul-devouring monument about his content about the mermaid sea war in the form of memory light spots. Oh. Is it this adventure? The old man couldn't help but laugh after knowing the whole story. Really, the war plot in this movie is like a joke. Seeing him so happy, Yu and Azzy couldn't help but ask him back, but this is exactly what we should worry about, isn't it? Think about it, if it comes to the real world, will the battle plot in this movie be so simple, like a child's play? In the original work, due to time and audience reasons, the war part was simplified and idealized, but can they simplify this part? And according to his memory, the technology of the mermaids and the strange fish tribes is not at the same level at all. Not long after the two sides started fighting, the mermaids lost almost half of their troops. If it weren't for Nobita and his protagonist Halo, they would probably be just a few cannon fodder. In front of an entire high-tech civilization, the power of an individual is not so prominent, and this is what bothers him the most. That being said, you should have a solution, right? For example, get the mermaid sword in advance. Don't tell me you're not tempted. I can feel from your sea of consciousness that, although you are worried now, you are more excited. Seeing that his thoughts were exposed, he smiled helplessly. You're right, I do want to get that sword. Ordinary people can use that sword to exert such a powerful force. What if the user is us? The only magic device that can mobilize a large amount of natural power that Yu and Azzy knows is the Archangel Staff in his hand. However, the Archangel Staff is still recovering, and there is no room for it to exert its power, which makes him a little disappointed. Let me tell you, that dorayaki is really delicious. The voice from outside made him alert. Are they back? Then I have to go. Thinking of this, Yu and Azzy jumped out of the window directly. Although he was in stealth mode, he was still likely to be discovered. With the help of the cloak, Yu and Azzy landed lightly in the yard without making any sound. After confirming that he did not disturb others, Yu and Azzy walked out of the yard quickly and breathed a sigh of relief. By the way, there is another question. He suddenly thought of something. Why can I see this virtual seawater? This thing seems to be invisible, right? For this question, you can now look at the talisman in your soul. It may have something to do with the space law that has been glowing on it. After hearing his words, Yu and Azzy immersed his mind in his soul and began to feel the laws around him. It is indeed the space law. Does this prop involve space? Yu and Azzy dispersed all his mental power and carefully felt the changes in the surrounding space. Yes, this prop can really form a parallel illusion space and then store seawater in this space. He immediately went to the back mountain and sat cross-legged and began to carefully feel the changes in the space here. The space created by reality is still extending with the seawater, and Yu and Azzy is constantly feeling the laws of space in this process. The old man looked at the sky with a heavy heart. Why did he die at this time? Alas, now we can only hope that there will be no problems at that time. If these two troublesome things can be staggered now, it would be great. Chapter 649 Looking up at the starry sky. After lunch was cooked, Chumashin realized that Yu and Azzy had not returned yet. He had no sense of time. King Gaiu, go out and look for him. Xiaoshan planned to add a few more dishes. I have something to do here. King Gaiu nodded and took on the task. When he walked out of the door, he sniffed hard. There is still his smell here. His mental strength was not too strong, so he could only use this instinctive method to find Yu and Azzy. Not long after, he appeared on the back mountain. This is it. According to the smell, the further he walked, the stronger his smell became. He must be right. Following the smell, he soon found Yu and Azzy, who was watching the town from the back mountain. TSK, come on. King Guy walked over with dissatisfaction. It's already so late. Are you still here to enjoy the scenery? Then he raised his hands and hit Yu and Azzy's shoulders heavily. Brother, it's time to go back and eat. In the empty forest, this voice was very sudden. Yu and Azzy and Old Man Ling didn't expect that someone would disturb him at such a critical moment. Yu and Azzy's soul was immersed in perception, while the old man was worried about the future, which led to the current scene. Being forcibly beaten out of the state of perception, Azzy turned around angrily and led him up. Are you tired of living? Last time I broke through the realm, it was you who disturbed me, and this time, when I was comprehending the law, it was you again. I think you really deserve to be punished recently. He pinched King Gaiu's face with his hands and pulled it to the side fiercely, causing him to wave his limbs in the air in pain. Okay, now is not the time to be angry. The old man pleaded for him. See if you can still enter the state of law perception. Humph, I'll let you go this time. Yu and as he threw him aside, sat cross-legged again, and carefully felt the laws of space around him. Kingayu covered her swollen face, still confused. What happened? Why is brother so angry? Stop talking nonsense, just watch from the side. The soul-devouring monument said unhappily. This kid always gets into trouble at critical moments. Although he is very obedient, sometimes he lacks a brain, which should be what modern society calls low emotional intelligence, right? It's probably because he has too little time to interact with other creatures. I have to take him out to see more during this holiday. The soul-devouring monument thought while sighing helplessly. There are too many things to do now, but there is too little time left for us to prepare. Yu and as he stood up at this time and turned around with some disappointment. Let's go back now. Don't comprehend the law? Ling Feng looked at him from the side. This guy shouldn't choose to give up comprehending the law at this time. Don't mention it. Kingayu's voice just now scared me so much that I can't concentrate on comprehending it now. At this point, he felt sorry for himself. It seems that once you lose the state just now, there is no way to find the previous feeling again. It's normal. The law comprehension is indeed up to fate. That's it. The soul-devouring monument also felt sorry for him, and then used all his strength to slap Kingayu's head hard. He covered his head and looked at them very aggrievedly. He didn't understand the situation after all. But at this time, others said that he just needed to listen. If he dared to talk back, he had no doubt that these two would give him a mixed doubles. Walking on the path home, Yu and as he breathed a sigh of relief, and the anger in his heart finally dissipated a little. And Kingayu saw that the other party seemed to be in a better state, and asked cautiously, "Brother, what is the law perception you are talking about?" In simple terms, it is the mastery of the laws of the operation of heaven and earth, which is a necessary condition for us to break through to a higher level. Then Yu and Daisuke, who was angry again, knocked him hard. "You who don't need to perceive the law, get out of here." The cultivation method of the demon clan is to exercise the body, break through their own limits, and then attract spiritual energy through ki and blood to generate demon power. In this process, the biggest opponent is the limitation of their own body, not external factors. Therefore, in the world of the demon clan, bloodline is the most important, because it basically determines the combat effectiveness at the same level. As for the law, their talent is the law they master. If he takes the initiative to perceive the law, he will naturally become more powerful. Of course, after breaking through to a certain realm, the gap between bloodlines will gradually narrow, because each breakthrough will improve their own bloodline. As for why those better bloodlines didn't move up, can the room for improvement be the same for a person who only scored 10 points and a person who scored 90 points? After returning home, Chumashin pointed at Kingayu's slightly swollen face. "What's going on? Did someone bully you?" Then he looked at Yu and Daisuke. There were only a few people in this small town who had the strength to hurt him. Seeing that he looked aggrieved, but didn't dare to say anything, the most suspicious person was Yu and Daisuke standing in front of them. "Nothing. Let's eat." Yu and Daisuke took his seat first. "Today's lunch is very rich. What is this dish?" He wanted to praise the other party, but when he saw the baking tray in front of him, he lost interest. "Who made this dark dish?" In the baking tray, the base made of flour and cheese exuded a rich aroma. It was originally a very appetizing dish, but coupled with the dozens of fish with their mouths wide open and their eyes fixed on the diners, people suddenly didn't want to eat lunch. "I got the inspiration for this dish from France." Chumashin was a little embarrassed, but I didn't expect it to be like this after baking. Now this dish of unbreakable eyes is hard for Yu and Daisuke to swallow, even the maker himself. But it should taste good, right? Chumashin took the initiative to cut a piece and put it in his mouth. "I'm still a little confident in my cooking skills." As soon as he finished speaking, he spit it out. The fishy smell of this dish was too strong and not suitable for his taste. "Forget it. This kind of thing is better fed to dogs." Yu and Daisuke put the unbreakable eyes in front of Kingayu. "Here, you eat all these things. You are willing to share my food. Okay. Kingayu picked up the knife and fork without hesitation and ate 2 portions of looking up at the stars. He didn't think it was an insult because dogs are also part of the demon race, and in his image, they are equivalent to the difference between white and yellow people and humans. This guy actually ate it. The two of them picked up their knives and forks in amazement and began to finish their lunch. Chapter 650 Ready. At night, Yu and Dazi saw through the law of space that the seawater in the illusion space had already submerged the house and was still rising. When it was completely dark, Chumashin looked up at the sky with an astronomical telescope and kept taking pictures with his camera. King Gai was exercising in the yard. Now his physical fitness was about to reach the limit of the second stage, and he couldn't slack off at all. Yinkei, it's already 11 o'clock, aren't you going to sleep? Yu and Dazi yawned and was ready to rest. Anyway, there would be no plot tonight, and the mermaid princess would not be recognized until the next day, so there was no need to stay up late. Besides, he also had to practice magic during the day and accumulate his own foundation, which was also very mentally exhausting. You go to sleep first, I'll wait for a while. Xiaoshan didn't mean to leave. I haven't finished observing the constellations here. I'll go to sleep later. Okay, I'll go to rest. I'm so sleepy. Yu and Dazi opened the bed and went to sleep alone. On the contrary, Nobita was called out of bed by Doraemon. Why are you still sleeping? We are going diving. Oh, I forgot about it. Nobita jumped up from his bed and put on his clothes in a hurry. After he changed his clothes, Nobita looked at Doraemon excitedly. How is it? How much virtual seawater has accumulated? He, put on the glasses and see for yourself. Doraemon smiled wickedly and handed the virtual seawater glasses to Nobita. Watching Nobita slowly put on the glasses, Doraemon's smile became more and more obvious, making you sleep so comfortably. Nobita put on the glasses, and the seawater appeared instantly. Wow, I didn't expect that in less than a day, I could accumulate so much. Woohoo, gurgle, gurgle. Hey, Nobita, don't forget that you are under the sea now. Doraemon looked at Nobita dancing in the air and laughed out loud. This guy knows how to exploit him all day long, and he doesn't even have weekends. Occasionally teasing him is also one of Doraemon's ways to relax. After a while, the blue fat man reached out and took off his glasses. Okay, I won't tease you anymore. After taking off the glasses, the seawater around Nobita disappeared instantly, and he was finally freed from suffocation. Ahem, this is too much. Nobita yelled at him angrily. Do you know that I almost died in the sea? You really have no conscience. It's obvious that you just need to take off your glasses. Who told you to be so stupid? As he spoke, Doraemon looked at Nobita with disgust in his eyes. Nobita wanted to fight back, but he was suddenly stunned because he really couldn't find any good facts to fight him. Okay, let's not talk about this anymore. Nobita decided to turn the page. What should I do now? I can't swim. Don't worry, I have prepared all the props. I bought them at the future department store today. Soon, Doraemon took out a pair of fins from his pocket. This is it, fins for landlubbers. Although this prop is just a pair of shoes, as long as you put it on, you can instantly become a swimming expert, even if you can't swim. Doraemon handed the shoes to him while speaking, and it automatically comes with the effect of a diving suit and oxygen tank. Is this prop so powerful? Nobita decisively put the fins on his feet, and then put on the virtual seawater tactile glasses. The blue sea appeared next to Nobita again, but this time he did not feel any discomfort, but felt that he belonged here. He moved his feet casually, and he immediately shuttled freely in the seawater for several laps like a fish. Great. After putting them on, I can swim in the sea without any obstacles like a fish. Of course, this is a high-tech prop from the future, specially designed for people like you who can't swim. After swimming a few laps, Nobita stopped in front of Doraemon. I have almost adapted to the seawater here. Doraemon, come and swim with me. Doraemon nodded, picked up another pair of fins for landlubbers, sat on the ground, and started to put on the shoes. Although he can swim, due to the density and body size, he can't catch up with Nobita by his own ability. In order to swim in the ocean with Nobita, this pair of shoes is also an indispensable prop for him. Nobita, who was next to him, saw the water pump. Doraemon, what is the button on the water pump? Can I press it? That button. No, Nobita, you must not touch it. When Doraemon reacted, it was too late. Nobita stretched out his hand and pressed the button. Soon, Nobita seemed to have seen something horrible. After flying in the air for a while, he began to rush into the machine. Doraemon hurried over and pressed the button on the water pump again to turn off the horrible thing. Nobita, who lost his traction, was unable to stop his movements. He crashed into the wall due to inertia, and the whole house shook. The mother's roar came from below. Nobita, Doraemon. It's so late, and you are still not sleeping. Are you two going to make trouble? Yes. We will rest soon. The two agreed in unison to their mother, who was almost demonized, and they were relieved when there was no sound from below. Doraemon leaned against the wall to ease his nervousness. Nobita, the button just now was very dangerous. Don't touch it casually. Nobita was also scared. So what exactly is that button? You haven't told me yet. That is the safety device of the water pump. Because after the seawater research is completed, the seawater must be taken back, and this button is the control switch. Doraemon stood up as he spoke. At that time, the water pump will be like a black hole, sucking everything in. As long as people wearing glasses, or fish that are stuck with seawater and gas, there is no way to get rid of this terrible suction. Then he pointed to the books and desks next to him, and everything else will not be affected, just like what you see now. Nobita nodded to show that he understood, and then he stood up. Is there anything else I need to pay attention to? No, as long as this machine is not touched by anyone, the seawater will not be affected in any way. As he spoke, Doraemon also put on his glasses. Okay, we've said so much, we should go out and take a look. Nobita also nodded in agreement. Let's go and see the world after Tokyo sinks. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.